So Tom, thank you so much for doing this, mate. As I said, had an absolutely wondrous meal the other week at the Capitol. I mean, some of the dishes that you were slinging out, it's like just mad creativity, Willy Wonka creativity on a plate. I was like, I was sat with my mate Raz, and I mean, our relationship is very, like, literally all about food,
right?
And we were just like, how are you sort of coming up with these dishes? And it was so much fun.
Thank you.
That's what I'd love to start with, is your creative process.
Yeah.
As I said, I went to Cornerstone, and some of the dishes I was eating, I'm like, what is this? It's like a slap round the face. It's like a proper like wham, like so much colour on the plate as well. Like I really feel like with your dishes, it's colour. So I think what I'd love to start with is almost like reverse engineering the process.
Right. Okay.
So start with that crab custard bad boy, because that was mad. I was eating that. I was like, this is just crazy.
Yeah.
And then we can kind of swim wherever we need to swim.
Well, I mean, obviously, like, it's kind of a cliche, but everyone always says, like, oh, it's produce.
Right.
Like, everyone, you have to start with produce, because it's funny. Like, I ate at this restaurant called, I can't remember how to pronounce it. It's either Hedonay or Hedone.
Right.
It was in Chiswick like years ago. It was always tipped for 2 stars,
Right.
but never quite got it as a 1 star. And I spoke to the guy, and it was like just as I moved to London.
Right.
And I said to him, I thought it's been really clever. I was like, wow, like your food's so produce led. And he was just like, well, where else could it be from? Like, if you haven't got produce, you've got nothing, have you?
Yeah.
And it really stuck for me because I was so embarrassed when
Yeah,
he said
yeah.
it. But no, like, so you have to start with like a great product. But then I think the way like we approach it is, rather than sort of being like looking at it in any other prism other than just like what is really nice, like, and what could everyone just love. Do you know what I mean? So we wanted to do a dish that was kind of like a custardy kind of one, but the one that everyone seems to do is chawanmushi. But chawanmushi is like, so it's like a baked kind of Japanese custard, but I just find it really kind of slimy sometimes. You know what I mean? It's eggs and like it's dashi and things like that. But I was like, do you know what? I want like that kind of almost like overset creme brulee sort of feel. When you ate it, do you know what I mean? It's like, it wants to be a little bit firm. I think it's like that kind of creamy texture. So rather than going, let's do a chawanmushi, we were like, let's just, what do people really want? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? That mouthfeel like that. So, and then from there, it's just, again, it's like things that are just nice and in season. So we had, it's with the tomatoes, like the Datterini tomatoes, just with the tea that we just like try and extract as much flavour as possible. Because at the end of the day, like, I think one thing that I really kind of dislike with restaurants is when you're told why you should like it, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So, a waiter standing there and going,
fuck off.
So this is based on chefs' experiences and blah, blah, blah. And what we do is we spend forever to do this. And blah. It's like, no, like, it should be perfect if a waiter says nothing to you and you had your eyes closed. That's what, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
If you sat there and ate it without anyone telling you what it is, you should eat it, because, you know, human beings are a species with a palate, and you know, a tongue. Everyone's got a tongue in their head, and everyone's kind of
tongue in the head.
Yeah, exactly. Like everyone's taste buds are more or less the same to an extent. Like if you look across every culture on the earth, there's things that people pick up on and people like. Well, I mean,
like, it's across all cultures.
Yeah, exactly. Like there's things that your taste buds respond to that are good. Do you know what I mean? Like it's things like why everyone has sweets at the end of the meal. You know, why dessert's always at the end.
It's like universal truths.
Exactly. Yeah, universal. That's the word I was looking for. But so I think that there are things like that people always pick up on, whether you like beetroot or not, or something like that. Do you know what I mean? It should be irrelevant if a chef can extract something that's good and make your life.
I think that's the other thing, is sometimes you can sit there and they give you a fucking lecture about this weird seaweed dish. But what I noticed at the Capitol is the service is almost, it's gentle and invisible. That's what I sort of picked up. It's like something, you know, Charlie, the front of house, absolute G. Like he just makes you feel so warm and comfortable. But then also it's kind of invisible. And I love that feling. You know?
Yeah, it's really nice to hear that you kind of picked up on that sort of warmth, because that's I don't have obviously I'm a chef, right? So I'm in a kitchen. So for me,
move these across because
So for me with service, like when I opened Cornerstone, right? So that was my first, obviously, venture where like I was in charge of like everything. Obviously, I've been like a head chef before, but with Cornerstone, I was like in charge of everything, and overseeing sort of like the service side of it more. My thing was just like I want everyone to feel like they are coming into like my front room.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
So warmth, friendly, not too much at the table, but also like you shouldn't need to. Charlie actually he's as we said, he's amazing, but he's got this like philosophy that if someone has to ask you for something, they failed. Do you know what I mean? Like, I
went out for a cig. There's like straight away. Water on the table. All the napkins are done. It's just.
That's what I think. I think like service should be that. It should be like just whatever you need, like, but without too much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, completely. And that's what I was saying before we hit record, mate. Is when I went to Cornerstone, which was a couple of years ago, and I said it was a crab.
Bun.
Bao bun. Yeah, I mean, it's sensationally delicious. But
we do have pearly cream now, actually.
Oh yeah, I probably had that the other week. But I can't remember it. But as I was saying, they're blasting out the Smiths, like and it's just that warmth feeling. What did you so again, kind of reverse engineering this. I totally get that, and I've experienced it, and it sort of soaked into my bones, and it was a delicious experience.
Thank you.
But what was the hardest bit about going from a head chef in the kitchen to really understanding that other? It's almost like backstage, front stage with the service.
Yeah,
and the vibe of your restaurant.
Yeah. I mean, that was so with Cornerstone. Like, it was one thing that was really, really important when we started. It was like that you remember, like, the kitchen was right in the middle, so we could see everything. Because
that's the other thing. Everyone's going, like,
yeah. So like to be able to see everything like that was really, really important, and I think that sort of like shaped how I am now as like a chef. I mean, I'm in the kitchen, obviously. I cook and things, but I think so much more of my focus now is on everything else but the food. If that makes sense.
Wow.
So like the older I've got and the more I've done restaurants, like I think the food is like almost the last piece of the puzzle.
Mate, so Bourdain, when he did Marco Pierre White, that's one of my favourite episodes. And actually, I interviewed a guy who's got a business called Eat Club the other week, Tuesday. Marco Pierre White's like the co-founder of it.
Yeah.
And he's based in Aussie, but he was over, and he was saying that Marco Pierre White said everyone thinks it's food, service, setting. It's actually setting, service, food. That's what makes a great restaurant. And
honestly, 100%. It's like you could go to there could be a restaurant down the road, and like the lighting is beautiful. They play great music. The service is fantastic, but the food's like average. Yeah. And you would go there every week. I would. I'd love it. But you could go to a restaurant where the food is 10 out of 10, but the lights are bright and they're shining in your eyes, and there's no music, it's stark, and the waiters are shit, and you'd be like, I don't care about the food. Do you know what I mean? So to work, like you're saying, reverse engineering, I think that is so the way to look at it. And that's what I'm finding more and more as a chef, and obviously having multiple restaurants, is that everything else needs to be right, and then when you get the food, that's what takes it from like a good restaurant to like exceptional.
What have been the hardest things about getting that right that you've picked up on?
I mean, subjectivity with guests is like making that experience for everyone. Sometimes people want like people more at the table, or they want like a quieter one or whatever. It's kind of knowing what people want and getting the staff to put that across. Do you know what I mean? I think that's the challenge, but obviously that's we love it. That's why we do it.
One thing I wanted to because I believe your surroundings really impact your creativity. Like I really believe like your input, so like what you're reading, where you're listening, what music listening to, who you're speaking to, your conversations will change your creative output. Yeah. So like when you were down in Cornwall with being around working for Nathan by the sea, and then you moved to London, sort of Hackney. I think I saw those early sort of pictures on your Instagram of sort of the graffiti. Yeah. How did that sort of change as when you made that move?
Well, so moving from Cornwall to London, everyone always goes, "Oh wow, that must have been such a big change."
Right.
But I was kind of eased into it because I was a head chef for Nathan, you know, doing like
that was at the capital.
Yeah. So, but before that, I was in Cornwall as a head chef at the St Endodoc Hotel. He hasn't got a restaurant there anymore. But like, so I was there, and he said to me like, "Do you want to go to the capital?" I was like, "Well, yeah, obviously, like, because I'm big opportunity." And the great thing about slotting into that was like there was so many parallels from what I was already doing. So like I was spending 14 hours a day doing basically the same as what I was doing in Cornwall. So it was just my days off and things that were different. So it was kind of eased into it in that way. And I mean, for me now, like London is my home. I feel like I'm more aligned with London than I am with Cornwall. Like when I go back and see the family and that, it kind of feels like I'm visiting somewhere as opposed to going home. Do you know what I mean?
Why did sink into that a bit more? What kind of how did London sort of cuddle you and make you feel like this is home? What was about it?
I just it's hard to sort of put it like to sort of say whether it's one thing or whatever, but I just feel like I love the city. I mean, like obviously it's not, you know, there's a lot going on in the world and this and that at the moment, and things it's the hardest time ever, particularly for chefs and restaurateurs or whatever, anyone in hospitality. But for me, I just think this city's amazing and I just love it. I mean, I love the diversity. I love the bars. I just love everything about it. And that more than anything, I think is why I like gravitated towards East London. Like,
right.
I when I moved here, I lived in Acton, like, and nothing against Acton. I was like, it wasn't.
Sparkling place in the world.
Yeah, it wasn't for me as much. So, you know, on days off and things, I'd be in Shoreditch or Hackney or even North, like Islington and things like that. So, like, I just really like aligned with those things, and that's why I ended up in Hackney Wick with Cornerstone. Do you know what I mean? It wasn't some like business thing. It wasn't like, really? Oh, this is up and coming, or this is like, I was just like, I just want to be here. Like if I'm gonna set up a restaurant and be somewhere, I'm like, I want it to be somewhere that I like. Do you know what I mean? I remember looking at sites in like various places like South and like sort of like West, like sort of further than Acton, because I was just looking at places I could afford the rent. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Yeah. And also for context, like when you opened the restaurant, 2018 you opened the restaurant. 2018. Yeah. Like I think I listened to another podcast, and this was ages ago. I think it was Simon Rimmer? Yeah. And that was probably about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Wow.
And back then it was like, that was such a bold move opening in that part of London. Now it's, I suppose you were sort of the first founding father of putting food on that, in that area of London. Like, talk to me about the first sort of 6 months. How did you get it going? Because I feel loads of chefs I speak to, it's that sort of first 6 months of getting the fucking off the ground. Yeah. It's so hard. So you're doing that in a part of London which isn't notoriously known for great.
No, I mean, like, honestly, when people sort of say about that, like starting it and that, I feel like a bit of I get this like imposter syndrome, because I'm like, my accountant will tell you, I'm not a fucking business guy. I'm a chef, right? And, and I maybe fluked it. Do you know what I mean? Like doing it there and making it work for as long as it did. I think we just did something nice. And like Nave said to me, he was like, look, if you do something good, like people will come. Like it was, what's that? It's that film, isn't it? Where it's like, if you build it, they'll come. It? Field of Dreams, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he was like, look, if you do something good and you make it right and you just capture the vibe and like the menu and that, people will come. And like that's what it was. It wasn't like it wasn't like a business driven thing. It was just like it was just about the restaurant, like the food, and like to make something that was really special. And like I hope we did that in the time we were there.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And then not ironically, but interestingly, when you go across to Knightsbridge now with the capital, how does the sort of the menu? Do you just create the menu that you want to create, or do you think about this surrounding environments with your creative process?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with there is like, because it's such a small hotel, and obviously with hotels you have various different outlets in there. So with the capital being small, we look after everything. So we do breakfast, we do afternoon tea, we do room service, bar, everything. It's not like, you know, one of these sort of bigger hotels where you have the bar team and the banqueting team and whatever. We do it all. So with the menu, we really try and like focus on making that something that's like a destination. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
So we do have a lot of free reign sort of creatively. We can kind of.
Do they let you design like the inside of the restaurant? Do you get?
So a lot of what was done in the dining room was already there in terms of decor.
Right.
We brought, like with me, I was like, let's get some different chairs in there and whatever.
Yeah.
But no, it's a beautiful room anyway, and it's very like it's iconic. The Capitol, like the people that have been there, you know, like.
So who else has been there? Like what?
Oh well, it's funny. I was at the Katie Awards the other day, and Brian Turner. You remember Brian Turner, the guy from like Ready Steady Cook and that? He's like old school guy. He got like a lifetime achievement award, and like the Capitol got a name check. They were like,
oh really?
So he was like one of the first people to have a Michelin star in the UK, like in the 70s.
Yeah.
And then after that, there was Philip Britton had a star there, and Eric Chavot had 2 stars there. And then with Nath, when I was there before. We had a star there, and it's like so many people have worked through there. Like we had Tom Aikens in for lunch the other day when we first opened, and he came in the kitchen. He was like, "Oh my god, like I remember this so well. Like, you know, this range and everything that we still got like the same sort of setup and everything."
Yeah.
So it's just it's one of those. I mean, those London restaurants and places that like have been there and like stood the test of time. So I'm just kind of trying.
When you said like you were having imposter syndrome with going to Hackney, or you know, you're like I sort of fluked it. How do you sort of use imposter syndrome as like almost fuel as you go and step into the big shoes of the capital or something like that?
Yeah, I mean, just want to do it well, man. Like, like it's kind of. It's one of them where you sort of look at it and go, like big shoes to fill sort of thing, and I really want to like make a mark there. I want to make it something really special that people talk about, and you know, people look at our food and try and like take inspiration from it. And that's what I do. I mean, you know, we're talking about creative process. Like I look at people all day, you know, I'm scrolling on my phone.
Yeah, so I was going to say, where do you get your ideas from?
Yeah,
like, how do you go and like sort of like a fucking, you know, truffle pig, go and how do you make it your own? Like, because you've got your own, like, I don't know, like for like some of the best restaurants, they have their own identity. Their souls on the food. The souls in the food. This is what Ashley from the Fat Duck, Ashley Palmer Watson saying. He's like, your soul has to be. Yeah, he's such a lovely bloke as well. But he was saying like your soul has to be in your food, or like your fucking stamp on it. Like, how do you do that? That's what I'm trying to get.
Without kind of being too, you know, I don't want to sound like pretentious or like
wanky.
Egotistical, but I do think anything creative or any form of art, right? So I think when food's great, it's like it's an art, right? It's a version of that.
Yes.
It's like any creative thing, whether it's art, music, food, whatever. It should be an extension of what you are as a person, right?
Yes.
But Marco said it once. He was like, that should when someone walks into a restaurant that's special, they should feel you. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
They should know what that is. That honestly, that probably sounds so
no,
wanky.
but it's true. Well, no,
but like I think like when you see that in places like I remember going a great example of this is down in Cornwall. So Paul Ainsworth, who's like unbelievable chef, like great guy. And when you go to number 6, like everything you see in the place, everything like the food, everything is just like you can feel his sort of touch. And I think that is something that I really hope comes across with it. Where they are. But you know, the other thing as well is like there's no I don't mind saying that we look at other people's food and like draw inspiration from it. It's like, and that probably goes back a little bit to sort of working for Nath. When I opened Cornerstone, a lot of people were like, "Oh, do you think like, is it you know, are you trying to like shake off the thing of having worked for him?" And I was like, no, why would I? Like I worked for the guy for 6 years. Like, that's what I learned. It's like someone going to a footballer like, oh fucking hell, do you want to stop like playing like Messi? Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? It's like no, you want to like do that, but then take it take it again. So yeah, when you're going back to like menu writing and creative process, like we see things that people do and then go, oh, don't you think that's cool? And like, oh, what if we did this? And like, it's like a collaborative process with your team as well. Like with developing stuff, I kind of sort of give the guys an idea and then say like, let's make this, let's make something like this, and then we, you know, develop it together. Because they're the ones on the sections making it. Do you know what I mean? So, and it does this like snowball thing where it's like, you know, it evolves and it grows and it's
so basically the way this podcast got go was actually Paul's at number 6.
Oh really?
So I was going through a bit of a basically a breakup, and I basically went down to I'm going down to Cornwall on my own to do some walking and shit like that.
Yeah,
and
nice.
I stayed at the Cornish Arms, one of those shepherd huts.
Yeah.
And I was like walking around. I was like down there for 2 days. I was like, I don't give a shit. I'm going on my wands to a Michelin-style restaurant. I might look like an absolute gimp, but I don't care.
I love eating.
Honestly,
so it's the best thing.
So good, yeah. So I went in there and I was a bit like nervous. I was like, oh my god. And obviously they're like, they called me and like, is this just for one person? I was like, yeah, for one person. And
okay.
Yeah, okay. And I was like, obviously I was just like plying back some pints, and they put me right in front of the. It was actually unreal. So they've got this little bit at the back so you can see into the kitchen.
Yeah.
And they had like I remember it so vivid. It was like, make it happen together. It was like a phrase on the wall. Nice. And I really liked that. And then anyway, so the guy who was serving me comes up and I was like, oh, by the way, I've got this was 4 years ago now. I was like, I've got this podcast. I would love to speak to Paul. And he was like, oh, I don't know if that's going to happen. I was like, give me your details. And I just, do you know Jess Corrigan?
Yeah.
Jess
used to do the PR at Cornerstone when we first met.
Right.
She's actually a massive part of like why it made it. Like,
oh really? Yeah. So anyways, I reckon I sent her from April to January to like 7 months. Just kind of, can we get Paul on? And as soon as I got Paul on, it started building that momentum. Nice, so yeah, but it's a really special restaurant there, and like you know they did a gift bag. Like, it's mad.
I think things like that are just so. So again, going back to things like what makes a good restaurant and a great restaurant. Yeah, it's those little touches and those things like, and also those things come from like, it's not like like wanting to tick boxes for like Michelin or something like that. It's just because that's what those guys want, and it's like that's how they push it forward. Ynyshir as well is another great example. Like Gareth's like one of my best mates, is like unbelievable. And when you go there, everything is geared around making that experience like life changing, as opposed to
talk to me about that more. Sink into that more.
I think like that's it. It's like rather than going, what can we do to win another star, or what will Michelin want, or what can we add that we can charge more for? It's just experience led. It's people going, let's just do something that everyone will love and that people will remember forever. And that, do you know what I mean? Those are like that's what makes things exceptional.
Yeah. So the guy I interviewed on Wednesday is like a legend, Sir John Hegarty. I was thinking before the pod, I'm gonna have to go Sir John, but like, I was just like John, but he
just call him Sir.
Yeah, no, that's what I was thinking. I was like, my mate called me before, and he was like, "You're gonna have to call him Sir John," and I was like, "Oh fucking hell, this could be a bit awkward," but no, it was fine. And he, so he's like an advertising don. Like he basically made Levi's.
Really?
Yeah. He's like 81 years old, and he's still after it. He's like super creative, and I love that because creativity is everything I try and do with this. But one of he said similarly to you, mate, is creativity is an expression of self.
Yeah,
that's the exact definition.
Yeah, wow, what a great term.
But then he also says one of his things is it's all about making the work better. So, and I'd love to sort of apply this with food. And he said, good is the enemy. Good. What did he say? Good is the enemy of great. I love that, because then it's like some people are like, oh, that's good. He's like, no. Once you've got something decent, you've got to make it either great or life changing.
Yeah.
How do you that sort of continuous, relentless, almost improvement? Like how do you do that with your restaurant so it is always becoming more life changing?
Like I'm again, when going back to like the imposter syndrome thing, like I'm never kind of happy with anything. Like I just want it to be like, I look at things and like, again, it's that sort of thing. Like you look around and it's, I think, almost sort of thinking, you know, that thing like grass is always greener.
Yeah.
Like I look around and I'm like, I think everyone's like a little bit better. So I'm like, we need to improve. Like, let's look at this again. And it's like sort of dishes that were, so like going back to like with Cornerstone, we had this thing on at the start that was like this potted shrimp crumpet, and it was like people were coming in, it was like all over Instagram. It was like the thing. And so we kept it on the menu. We never took it off, right, for the first few years. And then I felt like that was, so like if the menu's like a level like that, that was sort of the standout one. That was like the bit above. But then everything else like sort of raised. And that was, it became the worst. That was the worst thing on the menu, because everything else we were changing, getting better. But this one we were like, oh, let's keep it on because people want it. And then by the end, I was fucking sick of it. I was like, this is shit now. Like, this is shit. And it wasn't shit, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, so I'll never forget that. Like, we look at everything. Like, the Capital's an example.
Yeah,
I mean, it's only just been open. It's only open for whatever it is, for 4 months now. But like, there's the dishes that we sort of started with, and we were like, yeah, this will be a signature. We try them again. Well, we had this like cuttlefish ravioli.
Yeah.
Which we still got. Did you have that?
I didn't have that, no.
So it's what we do is like we make the pasta from the cuttlefish. So we like cuttlefish is like really rich in albumin, this type of protein called albumin. So it's like when you blend it and like it sort of like comes together in this way that like it makes it like pasta, I think. So we blend it, spread it really thin, steam it really gently, and then we use it as the pasta sheets. And then we make like a ragu of the sort of the tentacles, mix it with ricotta, put that back inside, and then we make these like beautiful little raviolis. But like, so we did it in the development, like before we opened, and we were like, yeah, great, we'll leave this on, this will be amazing, we'll never change this. And then 2 weeks later I was like, no, like, let's do it better. We did like a big sort of raviola, and then I was like, no, let's make 2 small ones. And then I was like, oh, let's make one of the pastas with squidding, so it's like a black one and a white one. And then, you know, now we're working on a version where we do it with like mushrooms and truffle. And it's like, even those things that everyone's like talking about, we look at them again and we're like, how can we make it better?
It's almost like
it's like you when you do something like that, I think even when it's great, it's like that's the foundation, right? So as long as you never go backwards,
the work better.
As long as you never go backwards, you just go for
You know what's absolutely mental, mate? London is literally the greatest foodie city in the world, with so many absolutely banging, delish restaurants opening on the reg. I absolutely love it. But look, let's get real. There's lots of times where tables are still sat empty, when your favourite spot is silently struggling. And look, every single table counts. Everyone needs solutions, and they need solutions very fast. And that, my friends, is where Eat Club comes in. Eat Club is a profitability tool created by hospitality insiders, including the absolute Don, Marco Pierre White. Eat Club gives top bars and restaurants control of a new stream of quality paying customers to fill those quiet times. No faff, no upfront costs, only upside. Look, if you're in hospitality and you want bums on seats when you need them most, please drop the founder Pan or the VP of the UK Liz, both absolute legends. Drop them an email, fillmytables@eatclub.co.uk, fillmytables@eatclub.co.uk. That will get you straight through to them and they can help. Please, let's turn those empty tables into profit. If you're a challenger brand that's absolutely killing it in D2C, but you're struggling to crack retail, then you've got to listen to this. Maybe you've got an Ocado listing, maybe you've got a Whole Foods listing, maybe you're absolutely killing it in Selfridges, maybe you're absolutely killing it in your farm shop and your indies. But my friends, making the leap, crossing El Chasm, crossing El Rubicon to grocery retail is not easy. It's the Champions League of FMCG. It's super hard. It means playing at a higher level, and that's where so many amazing brands sadly stumble. Look, retailers want stories backed by data, not dreams and a pretty pitch deck. And let's be real, supermarkets are not just going to magically make a space for you and your little brand. They need data. Something's got to go for you to get in, for you to get on shelf. And that is why I've got to tell you about North Star.
They are the team that's helping purpose-led FMCG brands go from gut instinct dreams to unstoppable pitch decks that actually unlock retailers. North Star are not like another data company that force feed you data like foie gras, that act like a NASA space mission. It's super simple to use. Their team are amazing and they actually get the challenger mindset. North Star are your shortcut to smarter decisions, stronger pitches, and investor confidence, all built specifically for challenger brands like yours. You don't need a massive sales team, you need North Star. Link in the show notes. Click that link and you'll be able to book a free demo with North Star. Highly recommend that, and thank me later.
Yeah. So I suppose almost what I originally asked you is almost that imposter syndrome, or thinking things are shit or things that around you are better, is the, again, this sounds so wanky, but like it's the driving force. Imposter syndrome, superpower, whatever. But like it really is. And just
I think so.
That's wild. I want to go back to the solo dining because I think it's one of life's great experiences. Where are some of your favourite places to dine solo?
So honestly, anywhere with oysters. I mean, the thing is as well is like when people ask me like, oh, where'd you go that's good? I always just go, I have like recency bias with it. So one place that
everyone does.
One place that I absolutely love at the moment to go to is the Neighbour Clubs in Shoreditch. So
that's that pub, isn't it?
Yeah. And they've got one club row above, which is like unbelievable. I mean, it's like the date spot. Like it's gorgeous. It's like you walk in, you feel like you're in Goodfellas. There's a geezer playing the piano.
Wow.
And like again, like going back to that thing, like the lighting's perfect, the music's great. But Neighbour Clubs is amazing. Like to go and sit there, have like really good pint of Guinness. I know again, it's like that thing of like a lot. Like Guinness has got to be good. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Have a few oysters. Sit there, prawn scotch egg, unbelievable. Biang noodles, the sort of just opposite Pearly Queen, really good. What else? I can't think. Sabor in Heading Street, unbelievable. But yeah, I like.
What do you like about dining solo?
You don't have to talk to anyone.
Yeah. No, in that. Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm very like happy in my own company. You know what I mean? Like to just sit there and just chill and like watch the world go by. And I just think there's something really nice about that. I think it's that kind of, I'm joking with not talking to anyone, but like when you're a chef and you're working in kitchens and that, it's I know, again, it's a cliche, but it's like, it's hectic. You're around people all the time. You're on. It's like this kind of noise of like people asking you things, like doing stuff. And to just sort of have that kind of disconnect and switch off, I think is really good.
Yeah. And also I think like, as you say, when you're with friends, which is great. I think the whole concept of dining alone, I feel like a lot of people feel awkward about that, but the more you do it and you actually you observe, especially in London, you just kind of observe the flow and ebb and flow of life. It's a delicious experience.
Definitely.
In terms of like what Nathan's taught you, as we said, we could jump all over the shop here. Like in terms of like real principles that you've taken more from a leadership perspective.
Yeah. Because
I think, as you said, mate, like being in those kitchens, noise, questions.
Yeah.
To get to that sort of Michelin star level with Cornerstone, like what were some of the principles he taught you that you think really helped you get there?
Well, like several. I mean, like Nath is he's one of the best guys I've ever met. Like chef, human being, whatever. Like like just as a person, like to his core, he's like a good person. Like I've never heard him raise his voice. Like people talk about like, you look at these things where it's like shouting and like basically like they beat people into a good chef. Nathan couldn't be more the other way.
Yes.
Like, my dad always he had this phrase like you catch more flies with honey than vinegar. You know what I mean? And like Nathan is the epitome of that. Like just a good guy that like wants you to do well. And like I remember like with like before I opened Cornerstone, he said this thing to me where he was like, once you've like won a star and done these things and you've achieved these kind of like tangible, like on paper accolades, if you like, he was like, one thing that will be that is like so rewarding for you is to see people do well that works for you. Mm-hmm. So like, and for me that really like resonated, it really stuck with me. And with we've always had like great staff retention, because I feel like we really look after people. And I like, for me, I want people to, I know chefs aren't going to stay working with me forever. I'm not going to have like a John Freeman, like with Sat Baines has been there for 20 years. Like but when people leave, I want them to sort of say that their favorite time was working with me. Do you know what I mean? Like it's really, really important to me that like people have that and they go on and do well. So that's a big thing. But also like in terms of sort of the food and cooking, like I just remember like this sort of perfect appreciation of like palate and food, as opposed to like, rather than sort of going, this is a recipe, it's more like why. It's like, why is that good? Why do you add this little bit of acidity? Why do you do that? I think it's more like this more holistic view, rather than like, this is how you do it, this is the right way to do something. It's more looking at things and going, like, I've said it before, like with like pan frying fish, right? Like everyone always goes, right, hot pan, fish in, skin side down, 95%, then you turn it over. But like, that's not, I don't think that's true for like every kind of fish. And it's because of Nathan. He was like, look, some things you start in a cold pan, some things you do in a hot pan, sometimes you do with this much. So like, well, bass and bream, because the skin is quite thin, we always do it in a cold. And again, like people, there's not like a right way, but there's wrong ways. There's no right way, but there's a wrong way. So like bass and bream, we always do it that way, and I don't score it, because I don't think it needs it. If you do it slowly like that, you don't need to get the heat into it that way. Yeah. We just do it like that and get the skin there. But like, one of my favorite ways to cook fish now is like, get a beautiful piece of whatever cod, like cure it a little bit so it's a bit more like me, and then equal quantities like butter, wine, stock, and just bake it in the oven. And it feels a bit sort of mumsy. It feels like it's kind of lazy. Do you know what I mean? It's not lazy, but like it's not as chefy as the other things. But for me, that's the best way to do it. Pan frying scallops, when people do it and they roast it and you get a nice crispy thing, like that's fine. But like for me, I like to sort of just bake them really, really gently, so you get this beautiful sort of crease all the way through. Wow! And it's just looking at I think it's like looking at ingredients and going, what is it that I want in the end? Like, what's the end product rather than the process? Yeah. And that comes from Nathan.
Why?
Just that holistic thing.
Yeah. Why? I don't know who I spoke to. It was Osh from the Devonshire. He goes, when I'm leading the team, he goes, I tell everyone why we're doing something.
Yes, that's exactly it. That's what I'm like waffling about with. Yeah.
No, but it's the way you've said it, mate. It's beautiful, because I'm trying to think of the example. So I think it's Osh's example is he'll be like, okay, to the team, we'll be like, which way's north? Yeah. Some people point that way, some people point that way. And he goes, the whole thing is you tell them that this way's north. Yeah. But he goes, then the why we're going that way. Yeah. And I think it's quite a good way of putting it. I think they've got all the backup glasses. Right. Because if it like a Guinness or any sort of pint in a plastic glass is crap. Yeah. So it's just, but that's the why, and he sort of imbues that in the team. Yeah. Mate, that's mad. And then in terms of the so on that why piece, more from kind of, so that's sort of the kitchen side, backstage. Yeah. That's how you cook the fish. From a sort of service perspective, and again putting your expression of self in there, what are some of those how do you apply that holistic why to that? If that makes sense.
I suppose it's like, what do you? I mean, like when I opened Cornerstone, again, like not really having been on the
other side.
The other side. Yeah. I like approached it in the way of like, what do I not like? Right. Like, what do I dislike if I go to a restaurant? So one thing was, I hate the awkwardness of like standing at the front waiting for someone to come and see me. I hate not being greeted immediately. So like when it was built, like that's why the sort of the bar was like right in front of the door. So as soon as you walk through, someone sees you.
Yeah, you go for that curtain.
You have the curtain. And
that's like the Disneyland experience. Yeah, it's something magic.
But as soon as you're there, like there's someone behind the bar, so they go, "Hi, how are you?" Okay. Straight away. Yeah. I hate when it's sort of quiet and you feel like you can't talk. So again, like made sure that like every table could be sort of seen and like people would talk. Music, I hate it when it's quiet. So like we always just had like a good playlist on.
Yeah, what are some of the tunes on that playlist? I'm trying to like. There was so many. It was just like banging tunes.
Yeah, like I mean, we just like went with whatever I felt like. Basically, I mean, I would set up my phone on the pass and just go like put whatever.
Oh,
so, like,
sweet, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, like on a Friday night we'd have like a load of garage on or like some drum and bass even or whatever. But then like in the day, like when it's lunchtime, we'd have like the Smith, obviously like Cornerstone, like we played loads of Arctic Monkeys and stuff like that. And yeah, it was just whatever I felt like. Do you know what I mean?
I love that because I think the best brands define themselves by the way you define yourself is by what you're not. Like Kanye West, there's a song, I don't know, like one of his songs is brilliant. I've written about this. It's everything I'm not made me everything I am. So it's like, I don't want to, by process of elimination of things I dislike will make me who I am.
Yeah.
What are some of the other things you did on that in terms of other things you fucking hate in restaurants that you sort of eliminated?
Just like, yeah, I mean, sort of spoke about it a little bit, but like things where sort of waiters tell you why you should like things. I just think that a restaurant experience should be like universal. Like I think it's just, we have like this saying like in all my places that's like we're in the business of happiness. Do you know what I mean? Like that's what we do. Like why do people go to restaurants? Like, you're on a date or it's your birthday or you're sitting on your own but you want to be entertained. Like what like people walk through the door and then when they leave they should be happier than when they came in, right? So however that we achieve that is that's what we have to look at and that's what we have to try and sort of make. So just being friendly, just being warm,
mate,
just
business
like having a
happiness
laugh.
is such a good line.
Because
it's like, who was again? I think this was Osh. He was like, hospitality needs a rebrand because actually, hospitality could be going to fucking Nando's, could be going to But the higher echelon of restaurants, it's too much for a broad brushstroke term, and I love the business of happiness.
That's what it is.
That is what it is. Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah.
We're not. And like again, going back to the thing of like the food being kind of the last thing. Like it's not about the chef. It's not like it shouldn't be about like pushing that on someone. It shouldn't be like this is good because it's just like people. The guest should tell you why it's good. Do you know what I mean? They should come back to you with that. Like you just have to like facilitate that. You're a facilitator. Do you know what I mean?
In terms of, again, I'm obsessed with the Arctic Monkeys. I fucking love it. I went to see 2018 went to Smokestack and then went to see them at the O2.
Did you? Yeah, I was at that gig.
It was mate. It was
obviously.
No, it was
fanboy of it.
But I love them and one of the things, so when their early tunes like bet you look good on the dance floor, Fake Tales of San Francisco, it was that kind of aggressive like gritty like punky. I'm gonna start doing it, but it was like and then
lads out on the piss in Sheffield.
It was like proper had that fucking in it. But then what I loved about them, and that's why I rate Alex Turner, the Beatles did the same thing, Stones did the same thing. They fucking reinvented themselves. And their sound changed. You would have been more. Again, I'm not going to start telling you to be Alex Turner here, mate. But how do you think about that in terms of like reinvention? Because I feel if you keep doing the same thing, you become stale. And actually, it's like reinventing because a lot of people didn't like that. It's that weird album. It's that 2018 album. It was
called? The Tranquility
Hotel thing. Yeah.
I loved it, right? And
it's very different. How do you apply that to food?
So I think there's quite like a synergy with it. And what, like I say, like who I'm not saying like I'm Alex Turner or nothing, but like I think what it is with that you see with someone like the Arctic Monkeys is like an honesty to like what they are. So rather than just going, oh, everyone loved them like punky tunes where we're like, I bet you know what, those things, like being relevant to like what they are and like staying true to that, if you know what I mean. Like as they're like they've got like more famous, like their experiences are obviously different to like going out in Sheffield and not being loud in nightclubs and things like that. And they've just kept it like that. And I think that's why like they're so good, and that's why like they are like the best for me, like the best band of all time, like but certainly British band. And I think those like you can see it like that evolution as artists. I think it's like it's amazing to see.
And do you think, because you're so right, it's you change, your creativity changes because it's an expression of self.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
And you know, I think one of my favorite songs is them is Brian's, is it Brainstorm or Brainstorm? Yeah. And he's like, top marks not trying. I'm like, that is just like, oh my god, that is just such a fucking tune.
Yeah,
I remember
the lyrics are unbelievable.
Yeah, their lyrics are amazing, and I went to uni in Manchester, and I just remember that was in 2013 when that album came out, and we were all just banging it out the whole time. It was so good. One of their lines is, you know, the thrill of the chase moves in mysterious ways. What is the thrill of the chase, mysterious ways in cooking for you, or hospitality, or the business of happiness?
Well, the thrill of the chase is like just making it happen, isn't it? It's like, you know, that sort of striving for like something really, really good, and like the process of making that happen. I suppose that's the thing that we all love, really, isn't it? Yeah.
What is that in terms of the service and stuff?
Just everything. I mean, service, like making I think the thing with food as well is it's kind of like it's like a really good like short-term gratification. Do you know what I mean? Like you do something, but there's loads of steps in that. Like, so you're cooking something and like you look at it and you're like, yeah, that's perfect. And then you taste it and you're like, that's amazing. And then someone else eats it and they have the same thing and they're like, wow, like that's good.
Yeah.
And again, like you've made someone happy by doing that. So I think that short-term gratification is what we're
that's
like.
We're all after.
Do you know what I mean? That's
yeah. And then Cornerstone, like, why out of any Arctic Monkey song, why that one?
I mean, I just remember like loving that tune when I was a kid, and sort of again I just think it's like a really cool name for it.
It's a really good name, yeah.
And also like, you know, Cornerstone, it's kind of got like connotations of like the first thing, and like that's the foundation. And who is it? I forget who it was. I think it's Freud had this quote where it's like, oh god, I can't remember now. It's like work is like the cornerstone of like, or love and happiness is the cornerstone of work, or something like that. It's like
really?
Yeah,
like I stood that up.
It's something, I can't. It sounds silly now. I can't remember it exactly, but it's something like that. And I just think like the word cornerstone just kind of means like the foundation. Yeah. But
it's
I just did it so Alex Turner will come to my restaurant.
Oh really? Have you? Did you know Miles? Did you know Miles K?
Yeah, Miles is a very good friend.
Was he last Shadow Puppets?
Yeah.
So talk me about your friendship with him. What's he sort of?
Like
talk you about creativity.
Miles is like, it's like again like one of the best guys I've ever met. Miles is like massive on food. Like he's a huge foodie. Like loves it. Like loves restaurants. Loves, again, like as a solo diner. Like Miles is probably like someone who does that more than anyone I know. Like he's really about it. And like, with Cornerstone, it was kind of like we got loads of like famous people, but like like before we'd have like loads of people coming through, and like we would always approach them in the same way, like just treat them like anyone else, like
of course.
a normal person. Do you know what I mean? And like, Miles came in and like he like just really enjoyed the food. He came over and we started chatting, and then from there it was like, you know, just two people that got on. Suddenly it wasn't like, I don't know, listen, I like loved Miles's music. I still do, obviously, but like it wasn't like it was anything else than just like two people who got on. Do you know what I mean? It was like it was very like real thing. But no, he's an amazing guy. Like been there for me like a lot over the years. Like he's a really, really good guy.
And what's he taught you, or like what have you learned? Sometimes like via I think you can learn from osmosis from people, you know.
Yeah.
What's he sort of taught you about creativity?
Yeah, just again like that, like reinvention of like yourself and sort of things. Like Miles's music, it's very similar to like Monkeys. If you listen to it, like the early stage, that kind of like indie-ish sort of
thing, you know,
you know, there's more sort of like bluesy stuff, and then like this kind of more jazzy bits, and like almost this kind of like glam rock sort of era he was in. But like it's that like reinvention of like what you think is like good at that time. Do you know what I mean? Because things, you know, people change, things change, the world changes, and that sort of looking at it, not just sort of staying with one thing. It's that kind of like reinvention. I think. Really great.
What are some of the big reinventions that you've gone through?
Well, I think sort of the biggest ones are like when I opened multiple restaurants, because like with gastronomy, you know, I love eating different types of food, but I love cooking different types of food. And when I had Cornerstone, it was like you kind of are trying to almost pack all that into one place.
Right.
But when I've got like Pearly, that's sort of one style, and then Capital's like another style, like that kind of high end, like super like boundary pushing, like sort of creative.
Yeah.
And then now I've got Island as well with Brad Carter, who's like my best mate. And that sort of meat and fish, it's like that surf and turf, and like looking at that again and how that is applicable as a restaurant. It's great like that, because you look at things again and you're like, this is how we need to do this one, because like those, like these are different ways that I like to cook, but also different ways that I like to eat. Do you know what I mean? So you're looking at them like this isn't just one style; it's different styles. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. So you've almost got multiple expressions of self.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And how's like from almost, you know, we talked about the, you know, that was it the potted crab dish that kind of took you there, and then everything comes up.
Yeah.
Almost like, say, with going from one restaurant to three.
Yeah.
That's almost that. What's been the hardest bit about coming up there from just like a leadership perspective, but also like in Cornerstone? I think you were there, mate, when I ate there. But what's the but with that, you can literally see the whole fucking thing, so you're in control of it.
Yeah.
Now it's like someone's eating at the Capitol right now.
Yeah.
You know, how do you navigate that bit?
What, as in like sort of not being like,
from like a leadership perspective, really? Yeah, because you've got to step back, right?
Yeah, I think like I genuinely believe that like letting people take responsibility and go with it like is always a step forward. Like if you're just there and you're on the pass every day and you're like overseeing every single dish, not that that's, you know, a bad thing. You do have to have that presence, but also like you're quite blinkered. Do you know what I mean? Like you're
not,
and also it's like people perform better when they have a sense of ownership of things. That's what I think. So
yes, if
I say to someone like this is, or like anyone says to anyone like this is how you do it, like the Osh thing with like this is North,
like, I love that.
If you say like this is how we do it, people go okay, and they do it that way. Maybe they come in there hungover or they're pissed off or whatever. But if you say to someone like, how do you think we should do this, and then they have that like sense of ownership on it, then they're not going to like let that slip, because that's, to them, that's that they're proud of that. Do you see what I mean?
Completely, yeah.
I think like at Cornerstone we had Kelly Cullen, like pastry chef, who's like the best pastry chef I've ever known.
Why is she so good?
I mean, fucking hell, man. She's just like a level above everything. She's like so talented. Like,
really?
Yeah, just this. She's only young, but she has this like encyclopedic knowledge of pastry, and like, but also this kind of like way of approaching it of like nostalgia, deliciousness, like just what's great. And like, we did this. I was like, I want to get a pavlova on, and I sort of said, Kel, let's do this pavlova. And we did this one that like I sort of like not came up with, but I was like, so we make it like beautiful magnets, and then we do this custard and strawberries and things. And she was like, I've got this idea of like doing like where everything's inside the meringue. And I was like, okay, cool. And then she went off and worked on it, and it became this thing. It was like something that we were sort of known for as like a signature. And then you start seeing other people doing it, and like I know that like she would never let one of those go out of the kitchen that wasn't a 10 out of 10 because like that's her thing. Do you see what I mean?
Yes.
So like, I don't need to go and oversee every single one that goes out because I know that she would never, because that's like her thing.
Yes.
See what I mean? So giving people that ownership is so important because they're never gonna let their own thing slip. It's like say like now we're recording this and I've got Alex and Eric over at the Capitol who have like helped develop those dishes like from day one, and I know that I don't need to be there going this ain't right, that ain't right, because they've started. They've done it from like the genesis of that thing. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So that's their identity as well.
Yeah.
And I think
that's what I was going to say. The identity.
Yeah.
Because and then you don't want to you don't want to.
I ain't got the time, mate. I ain't got the time to sit there and go. This is how you do it.
As in from their perspective, it's like if their identity's in that dish, well then that thing going out is an impact on their sort of status and thing.
And like I'm only one person. I'm not like. And I'm not right about everything. Like I'm not like no one is. So to have those other people like having their input, like it's only a good thing. Like I don't understand this thing of like chefs that like don't give people that work with them like the credit that it is, because like I say I've got 3 restaurants and I'm like I can't be everywhere at once. But the people that deserve they do it day in day out. So like they deserve the credit, but like. They are the ones that like make it happen. So to have those people doing it and looking after it is like it's essential.
Yeah, no, I love that. Like that, what you've always sort of pick up on things, but it's that kind of universal why of why we're doing something, and then giving people their kind of own ownership and status around that, and their input on it, and then it means you can kind of you don't have to fucking be there, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like there was, I remember. Hearing Adam Byatt years ago talking about like how it's like he's an unbelievable chef. Like we had a young guy working for us, Tommy, who was he's actually the manager of Arctic Monkey's son. Funnily enough, so like,
really,
so
that's jokes.
So Ian, who's
have you cooked? Sorry, have you cooked for Alex Turner?
Yeah, twice. Yeah.
We'll get back onto that, but sorry, go on to Adam.
So like, so Tommy worked with us, and I was like, he like did his college stuff, and then I was like, you need to like go and work somewhere else now. Like you've completed it. Like you've completed what you do here. And I was like, go work somewhere like the Ritz or like at Trinity or whatever. He's at Trinity now, like doing amazing. But I remember, anyway, it was like going off the point. But like, I remember hearing Adam talking about like the difference between being like a chef and a restaurateur. And he was like, he was like, once he sort of stepped out of the kitchen a little bit, the things got better and he could sort of oversee it all. And like it really sort of stuck with me. And I think that's like a really good way to look at it once you get to sort of the next level of being like a chef or an owner or whatever, to like step back a bit and like oversee people doing it.
Yeah. It's almost really big, instead of being at like 3,000 or like 3 feet, you're at 3,000.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. Yeah, no, I get like one of my local pubs is the Prince of Wales, that weird quirky boozer opposite the Trinity.
Oh yeah.
Like you go in there and it's just fucking weird, but it's
not really.
Yeah, no, it's good. It's really good. But I think I haven't actually eaten in Trinity. I've done the upstairs, which is unreal. They've now got that Sarnie truck out the front, which I think is a really good idea. Yeah. Why do you think he's such a great chef? Do you think, or what's so special about him? Because I think even Gordon Ramsay said like he's the guy, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like for me, I obviously having Cornerstone and like really sort of specializing in fish.
Yeah,
I'm like amazed by these people who have like this again like this encyclopedic knowledge of everything. Like if you sat here, right, and you're talking to Adam or you're talking like John Williams or someone like that, Gordon or any of them, Marco, and you go Kaufman or whoever, you're like, how'd you cook this? Like they would know like how to cook a trotter or whatever kind of fish, whatever kind of meat. I ain't got that. So like I can do fish. I'll do whatever you want with fish. But like I'm like the who is it? Bruce Lee when he's like fear the man with like who hasn't got 1,000 punches, but the one who could do the punch
1,000 times.
Do you know what I mean? So like that's like my thing. But then like these guys, I'm just like in awe of them because they know fucking everything, man. It's like they've got this literally like the repertoire in their head is like unbelievable. So I think those people are like, they're who I look up to. I'm like, wow, you know everything, man.
But your name is like synonymous with fish, like, and almost reinventing that or bringing that more. Like, so talk to me about that and what are some things you know about fish? And this isn't just literally about cooking. This could be like the supply chain. Like, why did you really? Like, obviously, I appreciate you worked with Nathan, did that as well. But what made you keep doing that?
Well, I just. The reason why we sort of didn't do any meat or anything like at Cornerstone was Claude, Bosi come for lunch like 2 months in, and I spoke to him. I was like, "Oh, was it good?" He was like, "Yeah, it was really good." I was like, "Anything you didn't like?" He was like, "Can I be honest?" He was like, "Take meat off your menu." He was like, "Don't do meat." And I was like, "Oh, what do you not like?" He went, "No, it's good. Like it's nice." He was like, "But the fish is so much better. Like just do that." And I was like, "Okay, cool." So like I just ran with it. I look at Claude. He's like this big, sexy French. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to argue with the guy. So like we took it all up.
I didn't realise you were doing meat originally.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did. We had a couple of meat dishes. Yeah, but he was like, "Don't bother." He was like, "Just do the fish." So we did that, and then like growing up in Cornwall, and like I used to go fishing with my dad a lot, and like I know a lot of fishermen from down there, like time with Nathan. And I think like that sort of appreciation of like produce and like. I like to. I'm like a nerd with that stuff. Like I like to learn about it.
So pardon the pun, but like swim more into that. Like,
exactly. Yeah,
I love people's like foibles or like weird eccentric kind of obsessions. So talk to me about.
Yeah, like it's just that like I like knowing little things. I love like I mean oysters is the one now. Like I'm just like fucking obsessed with oysters. Like I was over at Carlingford like literally last week. Like I go over there and see.
That's in Ireland, right?
Yeah, it's in Ireland. Yeah, so it's right on the border between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. And Kean and Mary, who are there, they're like the most amazing people you've ever met. Like it's this family business. Like the oyster beds are unreal. And again, like people, the oyster farm's 50 years old now, but like constantly looking to make things better. So like things like with oysters, like as they grow, like the way that you make this sort of like cupped sort of deep shell is oysters as they grow, the shell on the bottom makes this sort of like thin layer that comes up, and if you break it down, that's how you get that sort of teardrop shape by like chipping away at the shell. So as it grows sort of up like that. Do you know what I mean? So like what they do now is the oysters are grown in like big sort of sacks that are like on these like sort of stands, these sort of metal stands, and they get there and shake the bags every day, and it's like very, very laborious, right? But now what they do is they put them in a spot where the tide is, and they have these floats. So as the bags come up, as the tide comes in, the bags float to the top, and the tide naturally shakes them to break the oysters. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
to break them down, so it gets an even better product. Wow. And that's like a new thing. Like, but I mean, like. Kids marine biology, like
but I love people like this who get obsessed with some one thing and just
it's like it's learning new things. Like
when did we start eating oysters? Like what was the crap? I don't know if you know the answer to that, but
mate, honestly, there's a quote. It was like it was a brave man the first man that ate an oyster. Like I fucking hated oysters when I first ate it. I was like, this is gross.
Yeah, it's like alien spunk.
Yeah, it's like a salty bogey.
Yeah.
Now I love them. I'm like, this is like amazing. And like so yeah, it's like that learning thing. So like went over to Carlingford last week. They're sitting in the sun drinking a pint of Guinness. Wow, like big box of oysters. We just sat there opening them, chatting, and like Kim was like talking about, so when you open an oyster often, and this is like something that I hate with chefs, like when they open it and there's like the top, when you open the top and there's the sort of the lid of the oyster, sometimes there's like a really thin layer of meat left on it, because they've opened it a bit badly. And Kim was like, that's where all the glycogen is, it's called. And basically that's glycogen, and that's all the fat and like the sugar that's in the oyster. So basically when you eat an oyster, they filter like 55 litres of water a day. So basically when you taste an oyster, you're tasting where it's from. It's almost like wine. Do you know what I mean?
Terroir.
Terroir. Exactly, terroir.
Yeah.
But like so much of how they absorb flavour is in that really thin layer on the top.
And loads of chefs just cut.
Yeah, because they're just opening quickly. I've seen even the lads at work. I was like, this sometimes they do it quickly. They're doing it, and I'm like, no, this is so important that you leave that. And I would tell them before, obviously, leave. You don't want to waste nothing. But like, I never knew that until literally last week. Do you know what I mean? That's where so much of the licensing is kept. You know, so doing those things like going over there, I wouldn't know that now if I didn't go over there and like have this conversation. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, so it's a constant obsession.
Yeah, and chatting to suppliers and like just absorbing like because they're like again like he's obsessed with like making things good and making it better and like to have those conversations. It's the same with like fishermen and all that.
Fish is interesting because apparently lobster used to be like a poor person's food, and then it got reinvented. Like if you wouldn't eat lobster, and it's like that almost had a fucking reinvention.
Yeah, well, I mean, like if you look at in places like Maine and sort of North America and things like that, there's like lobster shacks and stuff that are like that. And oysters are a great example actually. Like oysters are now seen as quite like bougie. It's like an upmarket thing. But like this was like when I opened Pearly Queen, I was like, I want to like kind of not have that sort of like cachet to it. I want it to be like something
the buffalo oysters.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the buffalo ones.
Yeah, they're sick.
They're so good.
It's that is the democratization of oysters.
Yeah, exactly. And I think. But like oysters were for years, they were like poor people's food. Like that was the thing. Like in London, there was actually like a law of that was passed of how many times a week you could feed your servants oysters because people were just panning oysters off to it. Yeah, seriously. Wow. Like, and you know that thing as well, like where it's you shouldn't eat shellfish when there's not an hour in the month. Have you heard that? It's
no.
Oh, so it's like this thing, like people say, oh, don't eat shellfish when there's no hour in the month, and that's down to the spawning season of native oysters, and you're still not allowed to sell native oysters from May to August because that's the spawning season, and they were like overfished to the point like of near extinction.
Really?
Native oysters. Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask some dumb like toddler questions here, mate. But what's the difference between an oyster and a mussel?
Oh well, I mean they're completely different species.
Yeah.
Like different. Yeah, they're both like bivalves. So like bivalve is like anything that opens a shell like on two sides.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? So yeah, but just completely
different species. Yeah. Mate, it's mad. One thing you said about, I either watched it on an Instagram video or read it somewhere, but you talked about like fish actually have like fat and you can render that down. Like, so what are some other, again, I love people who go all in on one thing. Like, I know we're talking about the punch a thousand times.
Yeah.
But yeah, whatever it is, yeah. So talk to me more about that, the fat in fish, what most people get wrong or misunderstand about fish.
I think the biggest thing that people get wrong with fish is fish is like if you said meat, like meat, in meat you've got lamb, you've got chicken, you've got beef, you've got pork, whatever, right? And then on a lamb you've got shoulder, you've got leg, you've got breast, you've got rack, and people don't look at fish in that way.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean? They don't appreciate like the breakdown of it, and fish is exactly the same. Like mackerel, cod, turbot, they're all their own things, and they're so different to each other, and the different cooking methods that come with those things. If I look at like a gurnard, right? I'm not cooking gurnard. It's better for curing because it's the texture of the meat, the density, the fat content, and I think what people often do is look at fish as like one thing as opposed to like breaking it down into those different sections. But like with like something like a salmon, you've got like the loin, you've got the belly, you've got like the collar, you've got the head, and people don't break it down into those different things, and they don't like look at it and assess it. I think with fish, it's a type of protein that it's not just one thing. Do you know what I mean? But people look at it in a certain way. And like there's Josh Nyland in Australia he's the god of this. Like the way, like, you know.
So who is he?
So Josh Nyland has these unbelievable restaurants in Australia, and he does like the fish butchery. Like that's his thing. He's like a fish butcher.
Yeah.
But so he approaches it like meat. right? So he does lots of dry aging. I mean, everyone dry ages fish now. Like this guy was the fucking.
Well, because we had the charcuterie at the
yeah.
was
Well, yeah. I
unreal.
mean, like that again. Like we like really took the inspiration for the charcuterie from
because that was unreal, and that
yeah,
bread was so banging. I was going to ask at the end of the meal for more bread, but I thought you're absolutely wrong and to do that.
Right. Yeah, ask for it, like.
But yeah. So sorry. So Josh, what was So he was sort of the first OG.
Yeah, he like really pioneered all that. Excuse me. And you know that looking at it of like it's not just fish. It's not just like a thing that's sort of all encapsulated in one word. It's different avenues in those things and like different styles of like this is what you do with this part of the fish. This is what you do with that sort of part of the fish. It's like, yeah, that's something that I think people don't do enough of. They just go, oh, it's fish, or oh, even within that they go, oh, it's turbot, or it's cod. But like when you break those different parts down,
what's like a fish that say most people think cooked this way, John Dory, whatever, and then what are some of the other like beautiful ways you can actually cook it?
Well, I mean, like all of them really. I mean, like bass is a prime example, right? So everyone goes nice crispy skin, pan fried, but if you steam it, it's beautiful. If you bake it, like peel the skin off, cure it, serve it raw, like it's just looking at it and going like, how is and trying out things like making mistakes, like doing it one way, doing it a different way, and seeing what's best. I think that's what like I love to do. Like, you know, when like the guys come forward and they're like, oh, I've got this idea. It's like, well, let's try it, right? Let's just try it. If it's shit, then at least we know it's shit. Do you know what I mean? Like it's not like this is right or wrong. It's like let's just see what is best.
It's because the guy, again, this John Hegarty guy interviewed, that again, back recency bias, right? But he was saying he had another great quote about creativity, which is process is turning chaos into order.
Right, nice.
Right, process is turning chaos into order. Creativity is creativity is creating chaos to then create order.
Right.
So it's basically like trying loads of like loads of chaos, trying new things with shit. Yeah. Then at least then you know where it kind of guides you in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely. And I think like, yeah, if you don't try it, you don't know it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think
the one thing I wanted to talk to you about is your tattoos. And they're sick, but the one on the back of your neck, is it the world is ours, yours?
World is yours, yeah.
Because that's on your restaurant as well.
Yeah, like I don't know. I mean, that one was sort of it's kind of like a double meaning, because obviously, like there's the saying like the world is your oyster.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
The world is yours is like that thing in Scarface, you know, where he sees the blimp going over and it's like the world is yours, and he's got it around his thing. So I just thought it'd be cool.
Yeah.
I remember, like when I first started getting tattoos, I was like, it's got to have like, I think about it for ages, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's got to have all this meaning, and it's got to be like, yeah, if it, you know, I want to talk about this one, it's like, oh well, this is because blah blah blah. And then when I got enough of them, I was like, I'm just gonna start getting ones that I think look cool.
Yeah. Well, that's my mate. Raz, my mate Raz has got fucking like, I think he's got Elvis on his back leg, and then like he's got Mickey Mouse with a zoot hanging out of his mouth or something like that. Like it's just like, and he was like, I just want sick stuff, or like I like on my.
Yeah, exactly. There's enough. I don't like regret any of them, and like almost like some of them are like just like a moment in time. Like, do you know what I mean? You've got things that are like from different flash days, like at different shops, and like the good, like one of the good things now about like having a restaurant is now I like can swap like tattoos for food. So there's a like an unbelievable tattoo artist called Emily Malice, and she was like, she came to Cornerstone and she was like really enjoyed it, and then she was like, oh, if I do some tattoos, like, can I have some free meals? I was like, yeah. So anyone listening, hit me up, tattoo artists.
What are some of those unreal tattoo artists? Like, is there anyone you specifically go to, or
so
do you have a brief, or do you just look at things that you think are sick? Or like?
Yeah, like I think the best thing, like my best experience with getting, or the thing I love most with tattoos was when I got my first tattoo when I was like 20.
Right.
And it was just one on my back, and like I turned up with this like Google image that I found.
Yeah.
It was fucking shit. It was like this Celtic knot thing. I turned up, and this guy who was doing it, he was like, okay, like, so I've had a look at it, and he was like, it's fine. He was like,
Yeah.
but with a Celtic knot, normally it would be a bit like this. Like, do you want me to?
Sorry, Celtic bow is like a
Celtic knot. So it's
Right.
like different. It's like it's like a pattern where things all go around. So it's like an infinite sort of loop.
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, like basically telling me this is shit. And do you want me to make it good? And I was like, no, just go with that. We'll go with that.
Yeah.
And like that one, I've like had my whole back done now to kind of cover this one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, twice actually. I've had it covered twice because it was like on so dark. And like it was good to like know that afterwards, because like now when I go, I'm like, I've got an idea, and like you let them do it. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you go to the artist, you're like you let them sort of lead it and like do what they
so
and like the guy, like for example, the one on my back, like so that's a guy called Elliot Lane whose shop Only Here For You, unbelievable shop, like
Only Here For You,
Only Here For You in
that's
Hackney
such a good name.
yeah. And he's like, I mean, Elliot's like one of the coolest guys I've ever met. He's like unbelievable. But so like we worked together on doing this like big thing on my back, and he's just like,
what's on your back?
So it's like the, so you know the Odyssey, like the
Homer.
Greek, Homer.
Yeah.
So on my back is it's the bit where like Odysseus is tied to the mast, and he's got like the siren singing to him.
Wait, who's Odysseus?
So the Odyssey is like it's the story of a guy called Odysseus. It was after the war, the Trojan War. So like they're all going home, and like Odysseus goes on this like mad journey where he goes to all these different islands, and he like goes past, or he's going past this island where he's heard of the sirens. So like the sirens are these like beautiful women that sit on the rocks, and they sing like so nicely that sailors are like drawn to them, and they like crash their ship. And Odysseus is like, right, we're gonna go past it. He's like, but I have to hear them. But like if I'm not like tied down, I'll be like, right, let's sail the ship in there. So what they do is the sailors block their ears up with wax, and they tie him to the mast, because he's like, I've got to hear it. And it's this song Golden Brown by the Stranglers.
Yeah.
So like it was one of my dad's favorite band's favorite song, and there's the line, it's like every time just like the last on the ship tied to the mast.
Oh, so is that linked to that?
That's that, yeah.
Mate, that song's one of the best tunes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, of course.
Like that, when it comes in, it's like
yeah. So I was like to Elliot, I was like, I really want to do this thing, and he was like, I mean, I don't know if you. Maybe
did you go to him with this whole Odyssey thing?
Yeah, with the idea, and he was like,
oh, wow.
I mean, yeah, he might like. It's been, I mean, like I've had like 30 hours on my back, and it's like halfway done. So
really,
yeah. It's kind of. I don't know if you might regret saying yes to it now a little bit, but it's cool. It's like, yeah.
So when did you learn about that Odyssey story? Like,
I was obsessed as a kid. I was like, it was like just the Greek mythology and stuff like that. Really? I love all that.
What other
stuff.
sort
of
of
mad nerd.
because I love learning about like just people who are obsessed with like random shit, because I think that's what makes people so unique.
Yeah.
It's I interviewed Will and Jack at Fallow.
Yeah.
And
love that as well. Amazing.
Will is like obsessed with, like, I think he did like ancient history or classics at uni or something, and he's obsessed with reading all these fucking random like recipes and stories, and because I thought, well, fallow, because it's I was like, why is it called fallow? I thought it's because it's like a deer, right? And he was like, no, it's because
that's what I thought actually.
Yeah. It's I should remember it, but the story is he went on some mad kind of tangent about the fallow of this old book at the beginning of time and something like that. It was mad.
Really? Nice.
But yeah, so what some of the stuff about ancient history or like Greek mythology?
I mean, I just think like those stories are just like amazing from like reading them as a kid, and I think there's like certain aspects that like still resonate and like are still relevant now. So like the thing with like Odysseus where he's tied to the mast, I mean, yeah, there's so many like parallels people could draw from that, like of things that like
social media.
Yeah, exactly. Like like doom scrolling or whatever. Where you're like you don't want to, you can't help but like be in the thing that's like isn't good for you. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Another one, like I've got like Icarus on my arm, like flying too close to the sun, things like that. Like I just think
When do you believe you flew too close to the sun? Have you ever done that with your restaurants or pushed the bound, like?
I don't know. I mean, like, no, I don't know. I don't know if I mean, like, yeah, it's kind of like a pretentious thing to say, like, oh, you ever flew too close to the sun, but you know, you I don't know. I don't think I've ever.
Yeah. No, Any other sort of Greek stories that you think are? Because I've read a lot about Stoicism.
Yeah,
I like that. Like I've read like Marcus Aurelius and Seneca, and I like some of their quotes are like really like just good for today.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm trying to think of like focus, but main thing is just focus what's in your control.
Yeah,
and I love that.
I like a lot of the old like. I've not read like in depth. Like I haven't got like a philosophy degree, but like I love things like Socrates, where he said like, I'm the wisest man on the earth because I know nothing. Do you know what I mean? I love that, like, that humility of that. And then Plato was another one who's like in all genius there's a measure of madness, something like that. I'm probably really like misquoting.
I mean,
but I think these things are like
a better job than mine. Like, focus on your control.
I think those things are like they're so again like that's a quote from like thousands of years ago, but it's like it's so relevant.
Yeah, they say and also I think it's what you're saying about sort of what John was saying is like humans haven't changed, but we think we've changed mad, and it's like. Because I mean, this guy's an advertising don. Like he studies human behaviour, and he's just like, mate, like go and read old fiction. It's like go and read a book from the 1800s. You'll just realise we're all just the same thing. And I think even goes back to the Greeks. We don't have to go here if you don't want to, but I know you lost your old man, which is sorry that happened. But how did you navigate that period of your life?
Fucking hell, man. I mean, that was like, like the worst experience of my life, obviously, and it was at like a really, really like hard time with the restaurant as well. It was 2 days before the last reopening after COVID, so it was like the 2 days before the last lockdown. So it was like that happened, and then 2 days later we had to reopen the restaurant completely, and it was awful. Like, I mean, to anyone who's lost a parent will know it, but like my dad was like. He was like my hero. Like I adored the guy. You know what I mean? Like when he died, like my brother and sister, we really kind of like came together. Like it really like bonded us.
Yeah.
And like the thing that I loved with it, and like it's so horrible, but like we like have so many stories about. Dad, like he was so into his music. Like we've got a playlist that we add to me, my brother and my sister, like a Spotify list of like all the songs that we remember with Dad, like listening to him in his van, like on the way to here and there, going fishing, whatever, like songs that he used to just love. And like the playlist is like, I don't know, it's fucking like 20 hours long or something.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean? And like we still like tell his jokes. Dad always used to like he would always say like, your mate. So he'd be like, oh, I saw your mate today.
Really?
And it was like someone I've no idea who he is. Or he's like, oh, I see your mate's back at it again. You're like, who? He's like, Donald Trump. I was like, what? And like really? now in the restaurants, it's like all the guys that work for me, they all go, oh, your mate's at it again. Like, and that's like, do you know what I mean? That's put it down.
Beautiful, yeah.
And I think like, it's such a beautiful thing. Like I remember when Dad died, my sister...
Was it like out of the blue, or was it?
Oh yeah. Like, oh my god! Like that, So no, completely. So like he had a pain in his chest, and so he rang my sister and was like, "Oh, I've got pain in my chest." She was like, "Well, ring an ambulance," and he was like, "Yeah, I might do." And then hung up the phone, and then he rang my auntie Barbara, who's his sister, who's like a nurse, and he was like, "I've got this pain in my chest." She was like, "Well, ring an ambulance." He was like, no. All right. So do you know what I mean? He's like reluctant to ring this ambulance. Anyway, so he got an ambulance, rang my sister. He's like, oh, Vic, I'm going to the hospital. Don't have a drink or anything tonight because I might need to pick me up later.
Cheap sisters in Cornwall.
Sisters in Cornwall, yeah. So I live in London. My brother lives in Mexico. And sisters in Cornwall.
Right.
She was like, all right. Anyway, so he's gone in there. Did a few tests on him. They were like, we're going to keep you in overnight. Someone came around in the morning. He's gone. Yeah, it's crazy. No, it's like it happens, you know. But do you know the thing? Like, I'm glad it was that way. Like, if it's going to be that way, because my dad was like this, like, you know, not ringing the hospital or anything, not ringing an ambulance. He was like this like typical Cornish, like hard, like.
What did he do?
He was a builder.
Right.
He was a builder. I remember, like, when I was a kid, he came home one time, and he had like this bit of duct tape over his eye with like blood and like just crap all down his face. And he came in and my mum was like, what have you done? He was like, oh, it's kind of a bit of metal and it's a bit's flown up and gone in my eye. And she was like, well, why are you here? Why haven't you gone to the doctor? And he was like, oh no, it'll work its way out like a splinter. And she was like, it's metal in your fucking eye. And they had this row and finally he went to the hospital, but he was only going to go if he could drive himself. Do you know what I mean? So my dad was like, and you know, he was always joking. He was like this funny, like life and soul, like again, like just the most amazing guy. And I'm glad that I didn't have to watch him get old and like deteriorate in that way and like, you know, look after him because like he'll always be that to me. Do you know what I mean? When he died, I remember at a funeral, my sister was like, I'd rather had 30 years of this than a million years with anyone else. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's definitely something that like sits with me and just like, I love that me, my brother and my sister will always have the memories of this guy who like, we absolutely adored. I mean, like, you know, I think about him every day. I'm quite, you know,
what are some of the lessons he taught you that you sort of like you apply into your businesses and I think your mate one is quite interesting.
Yeah,
it's your mate. Kind of always on that crack, you know. That fun.
Dad always used to say, it doesn't matter what you do. If you like when you're at work, like do it the best you can. Like if you're cleaning the toilet, make that toilet sparkling. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
He said to me as well, like you can't, you don't expect anyone to do anything you wouldn't do yourself. So like when we're at work, if you're not getting involved, if you're just dictating to people, like don't expect them to do it for you. Do you know what I mean? Like if people don't see you doing those things, you know what I mean? You don't have that superiority. The thing that like really sticks out the most that he said was like, the best thing a man can do is look back on a hard day's work and know you did a good job. Yeah. And I think like now, if you get to the end of the day and you look back on it, you're like, you're happy that you've worked hard and you've really achieved.
Oh man, I think happiness comes from working hard.
Yeah, I agree.
I feel like a piece of shit. Like even if I've been out, you know, if I don't wake up and do some form of hard work, I feel shit. Yeah.
And like it's again like saying about that like instant gratification thing or short term gratification, like she like chefs in general are like shallow people. Like they want to be told they're good, they want praise, they want that, and that comes from that thing with Dad of like, you know, looking back on like the good day's work and being like, I'm proud of that.
Yeah. Also, you know I mean? but I think what I love about what your old man's advice is it's like how you do one thing is how you do everything, right?
Yeah.
So the way you clean the bog.
Yeah.
You've got to make that sparkling and perfect. So that when you go and cook fish or whatever, you know, and I think it is such a salient piece of wisdom.
I don't want to go through a day thinking that I haven't really tried to do what I'm doing well. Like I'd rather just not do it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I'm just gonna, I would never like sling out shit food or I'd just be like, oh, it's fine. Like let it go. Like no, like if you're gonna do it, like and again,
it's like good is the enemy of great.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're like, just like I don't want to just let anything go and just be like, oh, yeah, it's fine. Like, just leave it. Like I'd just rather not do it. Do you know what I mean? And like as a chef, like you put so much into your craft. Like, you know, you give up so much of your time and like social life and relationships and things like that. Do you know what I mean? With people, like the amount of like people's weddings I've missed and birthdays and stuff like that. Like if I'm not gonna do it well, like I'd rather just go and work in a call centre or something. Do you know what I mean? Like, just take a wage and do that. Like, no, I want to put everything into it.
Everything,
do you know
yeah.
And that's from Dad.
And how did you get through that? So goes to hospital. Next thing he's not there. You've got to reopen the fucking restaurant.
Yeah.
Take me to that day, to the apex of that. Like, how do you? So I think everyone's going through hard shit, right?
Yeah.
People may listen to this and be like, "Wow, like that's really helped me."
Yeah. To be honest, I think that I threw myself back into work, and I probably shouldn't have. I should have like took some time to reassess, but I was like, I wanted to like have that distraction.
Yeah.
And I'm so lucky that the people I had around me were like so amazing. There was Francesca, who used to work with me, who's like love her so much always. Well, she's unbelievable. She like looked after me so much. And James Toff, who was the head chef at Cornerstone, Kelly as well, Alex, who still works for me over at Capital, those guys like really like carried me. Do you know what I mean? Like they really looked after me.
How so?
By just taking all of the pressure off, by like just saying like, no, we got this, like we've got the restaurant.
Yeah.
Like we're looking after it. And I was kind of like, I was there, but like they just like, they did everything. I mean, I was like, I was obviously like a bit of a mess with it. Do you know what I mean? It was like I was going through so much, but those guys, I mean, thank God I had them. Basically. Yeah. They're amazing people there, and Francesca's moved back to Italy. James is off doing his own thing, but these are people that like I talk to all the time, and they'll be like, people in my life forever.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? And those things have forged from that restaurant.
Why? What? So I've again heard you or seen on your Instagram talk about sort of James a lot. As he was head chef at Cornerstone, right?
Yeah.
Why did you make him your head chef? What was so unique about him? Other than him being a banging cook. Right?
Yeah. It was that. I remember like when I was opening Cornerstone, I put it up on Instagram like, I'm opening the restaurant, like looking for chefs. And James, he'll love hearing this, by the way. He's heard the story before. He absolutely loves it. So I was like, looking for chefs. Hit me up if you want a job, right? So he sent me a message on Instagram, and I looked at his Instagram picture. James is like very, very handsome.
Right.
And I was like, no, I'm not fucking having this guy. I don't need. I was like, I'm not having this guy stood next to me all day. Like, he's going to show me up. But like, I needed people to come and like get the restaurant open. So I was like, oh, come and do a trial day. I thought I'll get 3 days work out of this kid. Do you know what I mean? And then I'll just be like, no, thanks, but no thanks. Anyway, he came and he was just so good that I was like, he was so talented. I was like, fucking hell, I need to get this guy in. And then he couldn't accept the job at the time because he was going off traveling and that. And then he's from the Midlands, and I was in a pub in Birmingham randomly, and he came up to me and he was like, oh, do you remember me? I'm James. And all his pals from the back going, oh, friend, like chef friend, like this. And he was like, it's good to see you again. And I was like, it's great to see you. I was like, oh, what are you up to? Anyway, and then he messaged me again, and like just at the right time, and I was looking for someone to come, and then he moved down. And
he'd done the trial shift at this point.
He did the trial shift. This was years later. So like he did the trial shift, and then I think it might have been a year later.
Oh, so you were up and so I didn't realize it was like fucking year.
He did the trial, and then offered him a job, but he couldn't take the job at that time.
Sorry, okay. I didn't realize it was a year. Okay.
Sorry, yes. Yeah, I think it was about a year. And then seen him in this pub, and afterwards he was like, oh, I'd love to come and work for you still. And I had a job going, and then he came down as sous chef, and like, I think 6 months later he was head chef. Like he's good. Like he's just very, very talented guy. Great, like switched on, like very creative with dishes. Like has a really, really great palate, and he's just like I say, he was so talented. I had to like
had to get him on board.
The better looking one.
And what's he doing now?
He's taken a bit of sort of. Because James had been working in like Michelin star kitchens since he was like 14. Like I think he started the Cross in Kenilworth when he was like 14, 15. So after Cornerstone closed, he was like, I'm going to have sort of a bit of time to just kind of relax. So he does, well, not relax, sorry, that's selling it short. He does some like consultancy stuff for some companies now to kind of do that. And I've no doubt that James will go back in and like be you know, create an amazing restaurant. But yeah, at the minute he's kind of like doing consultancy and like looking after some places.
How do you?
And which is the thing is as well is like the landscape has changed. You know what I mean? It's not just about going in and being the guy at a restaurant. Like, you know, there's unbelievable like private chefs and people that do these like consultancy things, and like the landscape's different. Like people can be amazing. Like look at Kate Austin, who's like gone on and won Great British Menu. She's a private chef. She was like head chef at like a 2-star. Now she does the private chef thing. But like, there's nothing. She's still amazing. Do you know what I mean? Like, she's still unbelievable. Like probably one of the best chefs in the country. You know
you don't have to be.
Yeah, it's different. You know, it used to be that thing of like you've got to go and own a restaurant and be the
iconic.
Yeah, that
being a chef. Yeah.
No, it's not that anymore. Do you know what I mean? It's different. It's different.
What have you? So have you ever had time off or taken a break or burnt like? So I think, you know, working 16-hour days every day. How do you rest? Or do you rest?
Yeah, no, I mean, I rest. I like, I'll be honest now, like, I know I've got the three places, but like, I say, like, I oversee things more. I'm on service like 6 days a week, but yeah, I kind of like oversee things a bit more. So it's not as intense as it used to be where you're on like the past, like, slugging it out all the time. The guys look after me.
How do you deal? Yeah, because I love people who do, as I say, like hard things. But how do you deal with that sort of ferocious day in, day out pressure, intensity? What's the art of that?
You just got to love it. Do you know?
Really?
What I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I say, like it's the thing is with like being a chef, it's not just a job, like a fucking job, like clock in, clock out, like switch it off. Like it's almost this like obsession of like loving it. Like chefs go and eat out on their days off. Chefs are like thinking about things. They're reading books. You know what I mean? They're obsessive, like nerds in that sense. The best ones anyway. That they're really like, they love it. They love the craft. They love everything about it. Yeah. And like for me, doing something you love for like 16 hours a day isn't work. That's not like I'm lucky. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, like I get to do something that I love and like enjoy all day, every day. I mean, for me, like, no offense to anyone that works in office, but like turning up and just fucking sending emails all day, going over watching fucking EastEnders, like that's for me, like that would be hard. That's work.
Yeah.
What I do is like I get to do a thing that I love and enjoy every day. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm lucky. Like I'd rather be doing the 16-hour day.
Yeah. In terms of so Cornwall, so I've got a mate who's from Cornwall as well. Who's actually got a brand called Michelin, and he's a good mate of mine. And he was sort of saying there's a lot of people don't understand about Cornwall. There's sort of like the poverty, the poverty side of towards things. I think because of all these amazing restaurants, the big holiday homes, you know, rock and shit like that. Like, but talk to me about the sort of the underbelly of Cornwall. People don't necessarily understand about it. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, I think with Cornwall, it's like there's like a bit of a disparity. So you've got places like say like your Padstows and Rock, where you know a lot of it is like £1 million houses.
Yeah.
Very sort of affluent areas, but then like there's Cornwall's main industry for a long time was tin mining, and there aren't any tin mines anymore. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So those things like there is a lot of poverty, and it's not all. Yeah, Rock and Padstow, like where I'm from in Redruth, like
whereabouts is that then in relation to?
It's like right in the middle. It's like it's down west. It's sort of near. I suppose the closest town that people would know is like Falmouth or Truro.
Okay,
yeah. And it's not a well-off place. Like there's a lot of poverty there, and I think people tend to sort of see one side of Cornwall, and there is that to it, but like the people are amazing.
Yeah. What's so amazing about them to you?
They're just good. They're just good souls, like salt of the earth kind of people. Do you know what I mean? Like, I go home. When I go home, like I'll meet up with like guys that I've known for years from school, whatever, and they're just good people. You know what I mean? It's like, I think it's that, like, you know, I don't want to sound condescending, but like working class people, like, you know, we had fuck all growing up. Like, I'm not from like a rich.
What were you like as a kid?
I don't know. I was all right. I mean, I was just like a normal kid, I guess. You know, I guess I was just like, I don't know. I was just a normal kid. But like, you know, working class people, I think, not having everything handed to them, have like an appreciation of the world in a different way, and I think that's a nice thing. You know, there's no like what's the word, entitlement. There's no entitlement to it.
I wanted to go back to the life-changing experience at, I'm so bad at pronouncing things, but in Ynyshir. Ynyshir. As I said, there's no chronological order to any of this, but just tell me about, like, as you walk through, why is that so fucking life-changing, that place? Because it got voted the best restaurant last year, wasn't it? Or was it this year?
No, it was 2 years. What, in the NRA? So it was Ledbury last year, and then I think it was the year before, maybe. I can't remember.
Anyway.
But like, it for me, like, it is just such an experience. So like, it's in the middle of nowhere in Wales. Like,
how'd you get there?
There's a train that goes to a town called, oh god, I can't. I'm not very good at pronouncing it. I think it's pronounced Michelin.
Oh mate, the Welsh names.
It's half an. It's about it's like half an hour from Aberystwyth. I know that.
Yeah.
But it's like, have you seen that film, The Menu?
The Menu.
So it's like it's a kind of horror comedy where it's basically like a commentary on restaurants, and it's Ralph Fiennes is the chef, and like, it's on this little island, and they all go there, and there's like all these different people. So there's like the guy who's like the chefy fanboy, he's like knows everything about the chef, and he's like, you know, just like this. There's a couple who go there all the time, but they don't know anything about food. They just go there to go there. There's like the finance bros, and on that, like, part of the thing is like they go on this boat where they go out to the island, and like, in a good way, Ynyshir is kind of like that. Like, the drive there or the train there is like part of it. You go through all the countryside, you kind of absorb it, and then you get there, and it's like this building with like all these beautiful grounds surrounding it, and you go in, and like everyone sort of sits down at the same time. Do you know what I mean? To eat. So it's this real experience.
How big's the restaurant? Small?
I think it's 20 seats. So it's tiny. Yeah. But all the seats are like, so the kitchen's up at one end, so you see all the guys cooking, and like the tables of two, they're sat next to each other.
Yeah.
So they're facing the kitchen. It's not like you're not facing each other. You sit next to each other facing the kitchen.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So proper theatrical.
Yeah, exactly. It's this, and like they have a DJ on that plays all these tunes, and like, because everyone's eating at the same time, like when dessert happens, like this, the lights go down, like a disco ball drops down, and so it's just this real like this like obsessive thought of like every moment of your journey in that restaurant. Do you know what I mean? The little welcome drink when you get there. Like,
how do they do that? Like,
well, they sit you down in the bar. They bring out like a little, and because obviously they know everyone's travelled there, so they bring out this little napkin that's like to sort of freshen up, or should like wipe your hands and all that. It's like smells amazing. It's like lemongrass. They look after it, and then they to get you the welcome drink, and then afterwards, like, there's a fire pit outside where everyone sits around, and they've got like fur coats hanging up. So when you go out, you're like, put on the fur coat, and you go and sit there. And like, you can have a cigar or whatever. And it's just like Gareth is like, again, it's this obsessive, like, absolute genius. Like, he's but also like, he's just the best person I know. He's like, whenever I'm around Gaz, like, I just literally just want to hug him. Like, I feel like I'm just kind of like, and he's huge. He's like fucking 6'7", like this big guy. And I just want to like have my arms around him all the time. He's just like this like beautiful soul, like like I can't talk highly enough of the guy. He's like, but his food is so good and so like genius level. Do you know what I mean? But every element,
when you say genius level,
just like, again, like just reassessing everything. I've been there like I think 4 times, and like everything is just tweaked constantly to make it better and better and better and better. Like, and it's this kind of relentless obsession with perfection.
Yeah.
And like every single thing is like, it's so good. And I was sitting there and I was like, fuck me. I went like in May, I think it was. I was eating it. I was like, wow, this is like so much better than the last time. And Gaz was like, oh, he's like messaging you the next day, like, what didn't you like? Like, how can we improve? What is it? And I'm like, Gaz, I can't tell you how to improve, man. Like, I'm a fucking 10% of the chef you are, man. And I was like, what do you want me to say? I can't tell you how to improve. You're the best. But it's that relentless, like, I want to be better. I want to be better.
Also,
you know I mean?
yeah, that's, so I was having...
But the geezer's an absolute fucking genius. I mean, like, how he, like, the flavor, it's just the flavor. It's like, everything is like a fucking like explosion in your mouth, but like, the balance is just like...
Any specific dishes?
There's like a chili crab thing, but also it's relatable. So it's like, do you know what I mean? It'll be like, I don't think he's got it on anymore, but there was one thing that was like a cat. It was like a chicken. It was like chicken katsu, but it was like this thigh, and then it had like this toasted panko and the ketchup, and it was just like fucking like, oh my god, it was like unbelievable. But the one that I'll never ever forget is, and he still has it on now, is like this chili crab. So it's like crab with like this kind of like chili ketchup, some like crispy like puffed rice, and then like this bow, and that's where we got the idea for the crab bun. So like so like, he does this bow on the side of it, and you eat it, and it's just like fucking, oh my god, it's like
really,
honestly, like it's just everything he does is just unbelievable. Like he does the other one, like this dessert he does when it's rhubarb season, it's like rhubarb and custard, so it's like just poached beautiful rhubarb, and then this custard that's like, it looks like bird's custard. Like it's really yellow and like really kind of glossy and thick, but there's no dairy in it, so it's just soy, and he makes it this way. We use the recipe now at work because he did it. But I remember when it was last time we went there, rhubarb was out of season, but like he has like frozen rhubarb that he like shaves over the top, so it's just this little punch of like super acidic, but then the sweet custard is just like, everything is just, it's perfect. Like just the way it like fucking like, just how it makes your mouth feel, like it's, you know, going back to that thing, like everyone has a tongue in their head. Like no one could sit there and go, that's not good. Do you know what I mean? Yes. No one could eat that and not be like blown away. Do you know what I mean? Yes. It goes back, like humans as a species, like no one in the world can sit there and eat that dish and not be like, this is the best fucking thing I've ever eaten.
The bit I love what you're saying there, mate, is also, I went for lunch with Osh the other week, and he was saying in hospitality you've got like the best people think about the 5 senses. Yeah. So like, you know, sort of forgetting what the 5 fucking senses are. But I think also like smell and touch. You know. Yeah. So like the smell of the thing as you walk in, the fur coat, like all of those, when you think of those 5 senses, you really get that sort of, as you say, that business of happiness. Yeah,
definitely. I think, and another thing as well that I think with the experience and like with dining that is so important is like how something reads on a menu. And like somebody who told me this is a guy called Roy Brett, who's got Ondine in Scotland, like again, like one of my favorite restaurants ever, and like again, like just such a good person, like just such a lovely guy who is like obsessed with food and making it better and stuff. And like he did like a pop-up in London, when would it have been, like 2017, 2016? And he did this dish, I'll never forget. It was like on the menu it said cod roasted in butter with whipped celeriac and poached lentils, and it just sounds nice, doesn't it? Cod roasted in butter. And I ate it, I was like, it's great. He was like, yeah, but like when you read that on a menu, you want it. Do you know what I mean? It's craveable. It's like something like that. Whereas if someone goes on a menu like fucking lacto fermented fucking whatever. That don't excite me. Do you know what I mean? I want things that are like, I want it roasted in butter, I want cheese, do you know what I mean? So when you read it, I think as much as like you read it, then it comes out, you see it, then you smell it, then you taste it. I think like that's really important as well.
Yeah, how do you think about that with your menu designs in terms of the reading, how it reads?
Just thinking of that wording of what sounds great. Do you know what I mean? Like wording it in a way of like what sounds amazing.
And also, I think with what you're saying with Gareth's food, and also about the way the words read, is there's empathy for the actual consumer.
Yeah. Exactly.
And I interviewed a really interesting guy called Will Storr, and he's talked about this whole thing of like the blandemic, and it's in architecture and in food. Yeah, it's interesting. And he basically says all the fucking buildings are crap now because it's architects trying to impress other architects, not actually thinking about the consumer. And he did it with Thomas Beatherwick, who did, the new London bus. He designed Coldrop's Yard. He designed Coldrop's Yard.
Really,
Beatherwick, yeah. And what this guy was saying, he says you see the same thing in 3-star food, where it's chefs are trying to impress other chefs. Like at that high level, but they actually haven't thought about the consumer. And it's like, as you say, like a fucking white spunk velouté or something like that. You know what I mean?
God,
It's just like.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I think again, like the chefs are like, they're the facilitators. Like it's like a triumvirate of consumer, supplier, and chef. And the least important one is the chef. You've just got to get from
like a conduit almost.
You've got exactly. You're the conduit. You're the person that like you get that stuff to this person. And like you do your bit. You put your thing on it in the end. But like what that consumer has is like that's the best thing. Like if what you do, it's not about what you do. It's like about what they want. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
it's like empathy. I think we've lost empathy for like, and I think it's just like, is this fucking delicious?
Yeah,
like,
it's a fine balance as well, because like we're talking about like like an expression of self, which is a great term that you kept saying, but like you have to do that like without ego, without arrogance. Do you know what I mean? Like you do it, but in a way that like.
So this,
do you know what I mean? Like
so it's a tension. So it's like, and I love this again, sort of Aristotle golden mean. Like, it's basically two opposing things.
Yeah.
And so it's again expression of self, putting your soul in your work.
Yeah.
But then also the consumer's got to fucking love it, right?
Yeah, exactly.
But the goal, as Aristotle says, is the golden mean. You got to try and find that thread through the middle, and sometimes it'll be more this way, sometimes it'll be more that way. But I think what Will Storr was saying to me with these, because he's done a lot of research into this. It's like we basically got to a situation where people are trying to impress their peers and not the consumer.
Oh, like you can. I think you can always see like a chef that's like cooking for the books. Do you know what I mean? They're cooking to impress Michelin. They're cooking to impress other chefs. They're cooking to fucking like massage their own ego. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's all. You can see that as opposed to someone who's like cooking for like the love of it, like the love of the craft, for like, just being. It's almost like when you kind of forget all of that other bullshit and you're just like, what is it? Like, what are you putting on the plate and why? And like, why is that good? Like,
it goes back to the why.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you doing that? Like, are you doing like, and I see it a lot with like young head chefs, someone's got it and they like want to just fucking put all of the processes they know onto one plate to like show off of like how great they are. And like, once you forget about that and once you like are comfortable and like, comfortable in your own skin sort of thing, and you just go like, this is me, and like, this is what is beautiful, and like, it can just be a piece of fish with an amazing sauce. Do you know what I mean? We had it with Ireland actually, like with the lads that are there, like the chefs there, like because doing it with me and Brad, who's obviously like a Michelin star chef as well, like the lads were like really trying to like impress us, and look, they're phenomenal chefs, like they're unbelievable chefs, and the dishes they were putting up, we were like, you're really like missing the point here. Let's take it back. Like, you're trying to do too much. Do you know what I mean? Like you're trying to do too much, and what we need is to like bring it back and just do something super simple, delicious, like buy this unbelievable produce and just get that on a plate and like let that do all the talking.
Yes.
You know, there's no like drop off in technicality. You know what I mean? Like to make like an unbelievable sauce takes so much skill and craft. It's actually harder to do that. And like I've like said before, like that's like a fuck you plate. Do you know what I mean? Where it's like, I'm gonna put this thing on a plate, this piece of fish or this piece of whatever, and this sauce, and I'll pass it to you. And I could sit there and watch you eat it, and you tell me one single thing that's wrong with it. Like that is so much harder. That's so much harder to do than like where people have like 20 different things. And they've got these fucking little curls of cucumber or some bollocks, and you're like, that there's so much to hide behind. Do you know what I mean? Yes. Whereas if you do that and like you push that, you could sit. I could do that and sit here in front of you now and pass you a plate like that, and you go, you can't tell me one thing that's wrong with it. And that as a chef is so much harder than to fuck around with all this frilly bollocks.
What's again, I keep talking about John Hegarty because he's like, he was in terms of creative, it's quite great having both conversations back to back because he's one of my creative idols. But he was saying, you know, creativity is about refine, remove, remove.
Yeah.
And you basically refine, remove until it's a fuck you plate.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that, mate.
Honestly, like,
what's the fuck you plate at the Capitol?
Probably the cuttlefish, I would say, is very much that. Like, you know, it's just two things. It's like it's the cuttlefish pasta with a cheese sauce. That's it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But it's like
fuck
exactly.
So
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. A few more things, mate, and we'll wrap this up.
Cool.
One thing I wanted to, again, this business that helps with that I interviewed again the other week talks about it's dynamic pricing for restaurants, basically.
Yep.
So it's like on a Monday, say a lot of restaurants shut Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah.
Their whole thing, and Pierre White's the co-founder of it.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, so you could go on this app, and it's massive in Melbourne, Australia, and it's you know, you could drop your prices for a bit, so you're still getting revenue in through the door.
Yeah.
And it's doing really, really well, and they're just launching in London. But what Marco was saying to Pan, who's the co-founder, is if a table is not a table. Hospitality is you can't a 1-star or a Michelin star restaurant table is not the same as fucking Nando's table in terms of like if you lose a table.
Yeah.
Basically, he says if you lose a table or someone doesn't rock up in a Michelin star restaurant, you're kind of fucked because it's the pain and the loss on that is compared to any other thing in hospitality. And he was saying, I think I listened to a podcast of this bloke in Ireland saying like the margin on a Michelin star restaurant is like so minuscule. Like talk to me through that.
It is. I mean, like obviously it's a really, really tough time. In hospitality, you know, we see great places closing down all the time. And it's those things. It's the margins are so tight, and they've just got tighter. You know, energy prices are through the roof. Rent goes up and up. I mean, rent rates is silly. Staff, you know, it's hard to recruit. Staff need more money, and all of it goes down to like, not to make it like a political thing, but it's down to like governments and how they look after us. Not just hospitality, but everyone. Right? Everyone's you know you pay your energy bills have gone up. What you pay for food has gone up, and so that gets passed on in the wrong way to restaurants. Like if you're skin, what's the first thing you do? You don't go out to eat anymore, right? Yeah. And I don't blame anyone for not going out to restaurants as much as they do because we're all fucking skin. Do you know what I mean? Like, but then everything on our end has gone up as well. So like restaurants have to put the prices up because what we buy has gone up. Do you know what I mean? So like a piece of fish that used to, you know, we used to buy mackerel at fucking whatever it was, £4 a kilo, and now it's like 12 quid a kilo. Do you know what I mean? Or whatever it is, like on today's market. But that can't get passed on to the consumer as quickly as the prices go up for the operator, right? So like fish and chips is a great example, right? Everyone always goes, "Oh, fish and chips is like 20 quid now." Yeah, but like a piece of cod costs X, the potatoes cost Y, But like all of these things go up, but like people don't expect the price to go up. Do you know what I mean? It's a hard one for that. So what I always think is like, I mean, the dynamic pricing thing is interesting. I've not heard that before. But what I think with anything is you have to be value for money. And what I mean by that is not, you don't have to be cheap. You don't have to like knock things out at like cut price, but you have to make sure that what you do is worth it, right? If someone goes out and buys a fucking like some cheap top from a shop, like, and it's cheap or whatever, but then like stitching shit or like it looks, but then if you go out and buy like a nice like big brand thing or designer thing, yeah, it's more expensive, but you
wear it.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? If you go out for a meal, it's like you shouldn't really. Sorry.
I know exactly.
It's like you shouldn't care what the bill is at the end, and I don't mean that in the way of like, you know, pissing money up the wall.
It's a life-changing experience. Yeah, well, not even all life-changing, but if you're aiming for that, then the money's not a problem.
Yeah, even further down the scale, like if you go to like, well, we're talking about Oyster, Devonshire and that, and you know you have like this really, really simple but like beautiful meal. You shouldn't think of like, it should be the same. Do you know what I mean? Like if you go to Ynyshir or you go to Devonshire or you go to Nando's, those things, like you see the relative value for money in all of them because they are what they meet your expectations in the right way, meet or exceed. Do you know what I mean? So I don't think people need to be like cheap. No one needs to be knocking out like, oh, these cut price deals or whatever. And actually I think sometimes people see through that and it's almost like off-putting. Do you know what I mean?
So it's like also, so for example, right? So say, I love the analogy or the parallel industry in terms of buying dams, right? Clothes.
Yeah.
Right. So it's like if you go into wherever, like, I don't know, Ralph Lauren, right? In someone goes into Ralph Lauren and they want to get a shirt for a wedding or something like that, right? And they go into Oxford Street, they get it, and it's the experience is delicious, and they feel someone's in there, been like, you know, banging. Yeah. Exact same shirt in fucking TK Maxx. It's got a red thing on it saying, you know, 40 quid off.
Yeah.
You're getting the same thing.
Yeah.
The experience, because it's discounted, like it's the perceived value is not the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And it's like, you know, I've had bad meals in very good restaurants. Do you know what I mean? Or like very, very good reputation restaurants or like high end restaurants, and it's because you go in there with an expectation, and if that isn't met, that's where you feel cheated. Do you know what I mean? That's where you're not cheated. Maybe that's strong, but do you know what I mean? That's where you don't see it, and that's what I think.
Well, happiness is expectations minus reality.
Exactly. Yeah. So what it needs to be is like, you need to come away from there going, I loved that. Like whether that's Ynyshir or whatever, whether it's the fucking greasy spoon, like, and you're hungover and you want a great breakfast. You know what I mean? Like you can have the as long as you don't feel like you have spent your money in the wrong way.
Yeah.
Then I think that's
from a sort of creative way solving that. You know, we talked about all the issues with, you know, everyone's skint's the right word. And, you know, Will and Jack at Row, they were saying, well, actually, like, we don't want to put the prices down. We want to like just sell more, sell more stuff or get more people through the door, because that will solve the problem. So I think they were saying in Canary Wharf, it's interesting because actually nowadays, because the whole idea of the long lunch, you know, the business guys is gone, because no one's like, loads of people don't drink in the week, and it's like, we'll have a lucky saint and then fuck off.
Yeah.
So actually it's quite hard. So they're doing this like 3:00, I think it's like cocktails and chicken. It's not that name. It's like better than that. But it's like other ways to get people in. Like, what are some of the creative ways you're thinking about actually getting punters in through the door or basically staying in the game? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think there's like different things in different places. So like with Pearly Queen, we started doing like Oyster kind of happy hour, I think, sort of thing. So like through the afternoon, like we'll do like half dozen oysters and a glass of wine sort of thing. It's like a package thing to kind of get people to come in those times. But yeah, I mean, just listening to guests and what they want. Do you know what I mean? And like how they want to spend money. I think, you know, with the Capital when we first opened it, I was going to do, you know, I kind of like, I was trying to go the wrong way, I think. Like, but this was before we opened. I was like, right, we're going to do like a 15-course taster, and it's going to be fucking, we're going to do this, and it's going to be super rigid. And as we were getting closer to the open, I was like, no, like, it can't be that. Like, some people want that, but some people want 5 courses, they want 3 courses, they want to order a la carte. Do you know what I mean? So
yes, okay.
that, I think that, like, making sure you're like open to what
empathy
experience.
Again.
Yeah,
yes,
exactly.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
yeah. Like first, and like
you could have said, "Oh, fuck this!
It's
7 courses."
Yeah,
it's
an absolute contradiction to, you know, what I was saying before. And I was like, I think because like I had this kind of, you know, this. I was like, right, I'm going to the Capital. It's going to be great. Like, it's fucking, you know, it's my name above the door. I'm going to do all this. And then I was like, do you know what? Actually, like, that's completely the wrong outlook. And it's in contradiction to how I am anyway. So I was like, before we opened, I was like, no, we're going to do, we'll have that experience. We'll have like a 10-course menu for people that want that. But also, like, some people don't want to spend all that money but they still want a great experience. So they're going to come and do the 5-course or a 7-course or a 3-course. Do you know what I mean? Or we're going to order a la carte. Do you know what I mean? So I think just being receptive to like what people want as an experience is really important.
Yes. Yeah. Almost empathy in the business of happiness. Because,
yeah.
Like,
literally that. Like, making it like accessible. I mean, I disagree with that term in a way, but like, you know, something that people can navigate their own experience.
Egalitarian is what the Devonshire use, and so I was having lunch with Ash and Osh, and they were saying, you know, we want the chairman and binman is their rule, right?
Yeah.
So I want a binman and a chairman to be able to sit next to each other and have a pint of Guinness and it be affordable. Get a bacon sarnie for £7, Scotch ale for whatever that is. Yeah. But also you can go upstairs and buy fucking two grand bottle of wine.
Yeah,
I think it's having that empathy and also awareness. What's 2 more things? So what are your thoughts on critics and them not necessarily getting your creative expression of self?
I like critics, man. Right. I think I don't. I rate them. Like, every critic I've ever met, I got on with. I think they're good people. Like, the other thing now is, obviously, having been in the restaurant scene for a bit, is I quite like that I can just like chat to, you know, at a table. We don't have to pretend that it's that we don't know who they are or anything. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
like, we just talk to them and like treat them like normal guests. And the thing is, right, you know, I've had the majority of reviews that I've had, like, I think I've had 1 bad one, but like, the thing was, I remember that this critic being in, and, you know, we gave them the experience that we give. Do you know what I mean? Like, we did our thing, and at the end of the day, restaurants or any form of like creativity is subjective, right?
Of course.
So like, you know, me and you can sit and watch a film and I might think it's shit, but you love it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean it's a bad film. Do you know what I mean? That's just like, so as long as you do what you like, again, going back to Nathan, I remember there was one, like, we were talking about like Michelin inspectors. And I was like, oh God, like, I wish I knew, like, they were coming. And he was like, yeah, but what would you do realistically? So say you're there, right? You've set up for lunch, like, it's 12 o'clock, first table comes in, a fucking geezer walks in, he's got the Michelin suit on, unzips it, gets out, goes to the staff, and he's like, just so you know, I am a Michelin inspector and I am reviewing this. What are you going to do? You're going to rewrite the menu? You're going to, like, what can you realistically do? If you're good enough, you're good enough, and just deliver what you deliver. Do you know what I mean? It's the same. It's the same with critics, and like, you know, you're going to get you're going to get people that don't that aren't into what you do for whatever reason, because it's a subjective thing and people are different. And like, as long as you know you've done what you can, then that's it.
But
right?
also, it's just doing it, because I mean, obviously with YouTube and with this, it's like about people are like, you say like too much, or like this kid he's on coke, or hasn't taken his ADHD pill. You know what I mean? It's like, when I started doing this, you sort of take it really personally. I'm like, oh shit, I need to stop all this stuff. Not 4 or 5 years in, I'm like, I don't give a fuck. You either like it or you don't.
Do you find that with yourself that you're constantly like looking at those things?
I don't look at it anymore.
Really?
No. So I don't. I basically have an audience of like 5 people who are like my mates.
Okay.
And and if they rate it or if they say you should change this or change that, I listen to them. And it's almost like, who is it? Again, I keep talking about John Hegarty, but he was like, the best book is always ever written just for one person.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's ultimately yourself. And I think if you create, like I asked the questions I asked today is what I want to ask you. You know, it's not like I'm going to go into a forum like, what do you think we should ask? You know, and I think you can get into that, but it is interesting. How do you think critics like actually make things better? Like, they raise the floor, you know.
Like for me, like I've read reviews of what we do, and I had one recently that was like it was a good review. There was a couple of things that they said. When I first read it, I was like, well, they're wrong. Like, I disagree with that completely. Like things like, and I was adamant. I was like, they're. I disagree with it. Like, that's just their taste. And I was like, do you know what? Like, I'm going to go back to it. I'm going to revisit it, try it. And I agreed with them in the end. I was like, you know, I think you do without sort of taking, you know, there's a saying, it's like a camel is just a horse by committee. So do you know what I mean? If someone was trying to make a horse, a committee, and they were like, well, it has this, it comes out as something completely different. So I think if you like listen to all of the noise, like if you like with the podcast, you're saying about like all the reviews, if you took every single one of those and like listen to all of those things, it would be a fucking mess. Do you know what I mean?
Oh,
so like, so you
have to be. So there's a quote I love, which is with feedback, you have to hear all feedback.
Yeah.
So you only listen to the bits.
Yes, that's so good. That's what I'm trying to get at.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's like, so this is true. So it's, because also these are just fucking gimps on YouTube. I'm like, you'll comment, I'm like, what are you doing with your life, mate?
Exactly.
Like, I'm just like, so that's just noise. There's a difference between meaning and noise.
Yeah, definitely.
And I think like, sometimes it can be really positive and, you know, meaning.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's just if you do just noise, it just smothers your own expression of your creative.
Exactly, but it's like you have to have the humility to sort of you can't have this like superiority complex with it. If it, you know, it's always worth like say hearing things, but like you know, at the end of the day, like maybe you do feel that you're right, and like you can't like change everything to kind of that you hear. But like I remember reading it, and I was like, right, well, we'll go back to that. Let's go back and look at it. And I was like, do you know what? There's an element of truth in that. And now it was actually with the crab custard. So we did it with when we first did it, we did it with pink grapefruit on it, and I loved it when I first had it. And then after I read this review, I was like, do you know what? I kind of agree. I think like we did like some frozen pink grapefruit on it, and I was like, Joe, actually, let's look at it again. And now we do the one with the tomatoes, and it's a better dish for it. Do you know what I mean? So it's like we didn't rip the whole thing up and start again, but those little elements. And I think just having that humility and that lack of ego when you approach things, and like, you know, maybe when we tasted it, I'll go, actually, do you know what? I think that's delicious, and that would have been fine as well. But I think like critics and reviews, like I welcome them. Do you know what I mean?
Raises the floor, I suppose. Raises the floor and pushes the ceiling ultimately.
Definitely.
What are some other like fish restaurants that you think are really places in London that do really good fish?
I mean, Bentley's is unbelievable. Like, talking about solo dining, I mean, fucking hell, like, is there anything better than going there and sitting on that terrace and eating? Like, it's unbelievable. Bentley's is great. Behind, so Andy Baynard's place in Hackney, that's like a tasting menu that's very much fish led. That's unbelievable. I mean, there's like classics like Scott's and Sheiky's that are very, very good.
What about sort of like more like kind of cheaper and more accessible?
Wright Brothers, like very, very good down in Borough. Like that's great. Oysterman in where's that one? Covent Garden. Yeah, very, very good. There's loads of great ones. I mean, the best fish restaurants are always the ones that don't fuck about with it as much.
Don't fuck about.
Apart from like what I do, because we do a bit of it.
And final question, mate, is a big question, but I asked it to all the guests. But what's one truth you believe that most chefs would disagree with you on?
One truth that I believe that most chefs disagree with me on. God, I don't know. You know, that's. I mean, maybe just that thing of like how the chef is like the least important part. I think that is.
Yeah.
I think, or that the food, sorry, is the least important part. I mean, I really, really believe that. I think that everything else is so much more important in a great restaurant than the food. And then it's when you get the food right that takes it from there to there.
Yeah, I mean, that's the exact answer that Michel Roux said.
Really?
Yeah. Mate,
he's
absolute
all right.
pleasure. Absolute joy, mate.
Love
Thank
that.
you so much.
That was so fun.